Otherwise I would take all the time you want.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Woo-hoo.
Uh-huh.
And part of it is talk out loud so I can, kind of see what
Yeah.
you're thinking in your brain housing group. A customer purchases 200 shares of Pyrick Trophy Manufacturing Corporation at 105 per share. With the stock at 122, the customer sells one PTMC January 120 call for 3.5. 1 week prior to expiration, the PDC is selling at 132, and the customer receives or is assigned an exercise notice. The tax consequences are.
Um, well, what I'm seeing is an uncovered call. So it's one,
Is it an uncovered call? Let's see. Is it an
well,
uncovered call? I got 200 shares
I
in
guess it
there.
wouldn't be uncovered call. No, you'd have more stock than the contract and the option. Um, so we got that. Week prior to expiration, signed with 132. Sign an exercise notice. It's in the money. So you're gonna have to a short call, you're gonna have to sell for 120.
I like it. I like it.
So wait. Should be for 12,000.
I like it.
So
You're on the right track. So
yeah,
you paid 10.5 for the stock, right? Well, you bought 200 shares, right? So you paid 21,000 for the
yeah.
stock
And
in
you
total,
sold
but you sold
350.
one call, so you were absolutely right. So only 100 shares got called away from you,
Okay.
and it got called away from you. Recognize the cap. I love that. You don't participate past the strike.
Yeah.
So you had to give up 100 shares at 120. That's 12,000.
Yep.
So 10,000, it was your cost basis on that 100 shares. 12,000 is your sales proceeds, but don't forget, you got what for the option?
An exercise notice? What were
You
you saying?
got $350 for the option,
Yeah.
right?
So I have my debit balance, I have 21,000, but that wouldn't be right in this situation.
Yeah, because remember, you're
Because
still sitting on 100 shares. You have an
yeah.
unrealized gain on
Okay.
the.
So it'd be 10,500 in there.
That's right.
So then it would be 1550 minus 10. That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, so you're on the right track. It
Oh,
sounds like you don't
I
know
did the
just.
math wrong. No, I did the math wrong.
Yeah,
Three.
so on the T, yours are your T, right? So you were now there's a couple ways to do it. Whenever you have a funky thing like
1850.
this,
There we
yeah,
go.
so you have two separate, I think of that two separate transactions,
Yeah.
right? It's 21,000 in total, but you only wrote the call on one of those, right? So
Yeah.
there's that. There's that second 100 shares. There's your proceeds. You were talking right. The math you were
Yeah.
speaking was correct, right? And then we brought in 350 for the option.
Mhm.
And so the only thing we're concerned with in this one, which is again, I think much trickier than what you're going to see on the actual exam,
Yeah.
but this is the part that we have the realized
Mhm.
gain on, right?
Which came out to 1850.
Right on. Right. That was a pretty tough one, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
Lot to think
And
about.
by the way, I could have very easily missed that it was one call because usually it would be, right. So it's pretty easy to go, oh, it's a covered call, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. So good job, good job. By the way, you spoke it correctly, so
Yeah.
just make sure as you're speaking, you got your
Yeah.
pencil and paper. Which of the following transactions would have to be reported with a CTR?
Mm. Well, I know that's a 10,000. That's when things start to get iffy, but I know some
Right
of
on. So
the are
you're
sketchy.
looking for a currency transaction of more than 10. You are absolutely correct.
So I'm gonna go with B because of the postal money orders. That's a little
That's
sketchy
exactly
there.
right. That's odd, right? It's
Yeah.
odd. By the way, the CTR isn't odd, but
Yeah.
it also looks like to me this also could be, as well as a CTR, could also be a suspicious activity report, just
Mhm.
because it looks like that's kind of weird. Like you're trying to avoid triggering the CTR, right?
Mhm.
By doing that $1,000. Customer margin account shows a long market value of 6,000 and a debit balance of 5. The maintenance margin call, which is due promptly, will be for,
So we have $1,000 of equity. Is that even necessary for that, determining equity?
well, I would take you. There's a lot of ways to do it. I would want you to know the classical margin equation,
Which is
which
long.
is market value 6,000 minus 5 is 1,000.
Mhm.
So you're supposed to have 25% of 6.
That's
25% of 6 would be 1,500.
so
You
if
have
I,
1,000.
so I need 500 to make that
Yeah,
25%.
exactly.
I
Yep,
see.
excellent. That's exactly right.
So the
So that's how there's a lot of math. You got to be a little careful. There's a lot of ways to do math. So, but I, as a tutor, am committed to people knowing the classical margin equation, which is long market value minus debit equals equity, kind of like a house, right? Market value of the house minus mortgage on the house equals equity in the house, right? Or value of the car minus loan against the car equals equity in the car, right? So that's the way I'd like to proceed. And then I definitely should know 25% is minimum maintenance.
Yep.
And then 25% of 6 is 1,500. Be careful. If I asked you maintenance, it'd be 1,500. I asked you what is the call. That's the difference. And that's due promptly. And you give that to me, I pay down your loan. So the loan goes to 4,500 because I pay down the loan and I call you again tomorrow. I'm joking, but not really. Usually stocks that are going bad or continue to go bad. New housing authority bonds are relatively safe because very testable.
Yeah, I know those are government backed, aren't they?
They are. They have the full faith and credit of the United States government. There's no better credit quality than that.
The
And
best,
so they're backed by the US
safest municipal.
government. I would know about this one, and I would also know about another government kind of thing, Ginnie Mae, right?
Yeah.
Direct obligation of the U.S. Treasury, T-bills, T-notes, T-bonds, Ginnie Mae, and PHAs. Very testable. One of your customers a variable annuity. When asking about how the performance of the separate account is measured, you would respond that.
Um, well, I know the separate account would have, I think
Yeah,
it's,
every time I hear the word variable annuity, I think mutual fund with insurance wrapper. Mutual fund with insurance wrapper. The mutual fund is the separate account.
which one's the separate account? Would it be C?
The separate account performance depends on the performance of the selected sub-accounts. You are correct.
Awesome.
The securities, right? Boom. You're going to get a couple of those.
Yeah.
Variable annuities are considered non-qualified retirement plans, right? According to industry rules, if a customer purchases a bond from your firm, the confirmation must disclose. The confirmation must disclose.
Um, I know it's agent or principal,
Right on.
so that knocks two out.
You're
Or,
absolutely correct. That's called capacity, the capacity.
and I
So you're two.
remember studying, I think it was the firm's address that you need.
Excellent. That's excellent. 2 and 3, right? I wish other businesses were like ours. We put our address there, our phone number, make it easier for you to reach out if there's some kind of a problem, right? I hate when I get a receipt and there's nothing there to, contact somebody if I have a problem, right? All the following are risks of investing in a publicly traded mortgage-backed security, except, you gotta be careful when they accepts.
It's not a risk. Falling interest rates, that's a risk. Would be a risk. That's a risk. Seeing interest rates. Between A and C.
Yeah, I think that's well, yeah, okay. I think this might be because you watch too many Dean videos. The principal mutual exclusion isn't always the right way to attack a
Yeah, right.
question, but remember the principal mutual exclusion is they both can't be true in the same universe, but perhaps A and C could be could be true in the same universe.
Um, well, I know you would repay you would. I'm gonna go with A because wouldn't it be prepaying, not repaying?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you missed it because you got interest rate. I like this question. I wrote it down to share with others because it's a good one. You have in a mortgage-backed security, you have interest rate both at risk in both directions. So if we're in a pool of Ginnie Mae mortgages, for example, Sam, and falling interest rates go down, people are going to pay us back because they're going to refinance their mortgage, and our principal will come back to us rather quickly, and we're going to be upset because we're going to have to reinvest at today's lower rates. We're also going to be unhappy if rates go up because then nobody's going to refinance and we're going to be stuck in a lower than today's return. So, you have interest rate risk in both directions, A and C. So these would be good in a stable interest rate environment. You have an unpredictable, indeterminate maturity. I don't know when people are going to pay out their mortgage. People refinance, they move. That's not true of other debt securities. We actually know it's a 10-year bond, it's a 5-year CD, whatever the case may be. So indeterminate maturity is what this question's about. Borrowers might default in their mortgage payments. Well, no, if you're getting a mortgage-backed security, yeah, maybe one of them does, but the idea that all of them would be it. It's actually the answer is B. I don't really care that it's B because it's not really the B answer that I want you to take away. That's why I like this question. You got to be careful on the accepts. It's not really the takeaway isn't the accept part of it. I call this a poor man's flashcard. What we really want to take away from this is that A, C are something we should know, right? So that's kind of the takeaway, that we should know that in mortgage pass-through or mortgage-backed securities, we have an indeterminate maturity because the maturity depends on interest rates. We don't know what interest rates are going to do. If interest rates go down, everybody refinances. It ends sooner rather than later. Interest rates go up, nobody refinances, it will extend in its life. So I do like the question. This is what I call a judgment question on the test.
Mhm.
A judgment, I think those are the hardest questions to get. Those are where you got to go. So you get recognition. You've done so far as your tutor, very excellent on recognition. That stuff you just either know or not, you don't. Aim and shoot, point and click. You get practical application. I don't think we've seen one of those yet. Break even, current yield or whatever the case may be. And then you get these kind of questions. This is a judgment question. About 10% of your exam are judgment questions where you just kind of got to reason your way through it. So that was your first miss. So not bad, by the way, not bad. A transaction that is completed with proper certificates, signatures, and disclosures is said to be.
Be good delivery.
Yeah, that's the Uniform Practice Code. You can imagine what a mess our industry would be if everybody did it differently.
Yeah.
So good delivery is not getting a pizza in 30 minutes or less. Good delivery is making sure the securities are in the proper deliverable form. As it relates to stock, makeable and breakable into 100. As it relates to signatures, that they're technically correct and they've been guaranteed, not by a notary. We don't recognize notaries. By a commercial bank, a holder of a medallion stamp, a member of the New York Stock Exchange, whatever the case may be. If it's mutilated, it's been authenticated. If it's a muni bond and there's no legal opinion that we told you it's trading ex-legal, that's all that back office stuff. Not a lot of test questions there, but what's there is there. A customer wishes to open a cash account. Who must sign the new account form? Who must sign the new account form?
I've gotten this wrong so many times. I know it's the principal because I used to think it was the customer.
There you go.
I know
Well,
it's
that's part of practice, drilling, and rehearsing, right? So I don't know about you, Sam. When I take a test, I like to get to the first question I know the right answer to.
yeah.
And all right, there's that damn principal one. Now, you're catching me on a bad day, I guess, because I've been on a rant recently. I don't know if I didn't have enough coffee the last couple of mornings, but I get really aggravated with people saying, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter what vendor you pick because you're not going to get questions that are like the exam," which is kind of BS. I mean, STC, Past Perfect, Kaplan spend a lot of resources trying to come up with questions that reflect the actual exam. So I'm not allowed to ask you, like, when you're done, like, what was question 35? But I can say, hey, Sam, what should we have done a better job on? You say, Dean, I wish you would have spent more time on opening the damn new account. I go, oh, let's make a note of that. So, investors considering the purchase of Mount Laurel, New Jersey general obligation bonds The portfolio, of his portfolio, he should know that the bonds,
I know that muni bonds don't need to be registered with the SEC.
right on,
And I know now you need to deliver an official statement. So
right
I'm
on.
let's see.
They are not subject to the registration, but you are required to make, you got it. That's exactly right. Now, what's next for you? 63, 66?
66.
66. And again, you'll get tested on that you don't have to register municipal securities because the US government and municipal issuers are exempt,
Hmm.
meaning they don't have to register their securities, right? The
Yep.
official statement, don't tell me it's a prospectus, but it serves the same purpose.
Yeah.
It helps you make an informed decision about whether you want to lend Mount Laurel, New Jersey some money, right? A 38-year-old investor places 25,000 into a qualified, keyword qualified, single premium deferred variable annuity. 20 years later, the account is valued at 72,000. The investor surrenders the policy and they're in the 25% marginal income tax. The total tax liability is. I don't
Well,
think you'll get this complicated as one, but I like the things that are involved in this question.
yeah. Well, so I know if 38 years and you go 20 years past that, it'll be 58, which will be under the 59 and a half. So you'll have another
You're
10%.
absolutely right. You're
And
absolutely right. So
35%
that's
of
the first thing
taxes.
you've recognized. That's right. So now
Uh,
what are you going to do next?
if qualified annuity is pre-tax money.
Perfect. That means you've never paid taxes on any of that 72 grand. So you're on the right track, my friend.
So you surrender the whole policy. So you pay 35% tax on 72,000, right?
Yeah, I like you could do it either way, right? So I like what you did. You could either do the 25% and then do the 10,
Mhm.
or you could just say, well, there's going to be a 10% penalty, right? And so the 10% penalty gives you the effective rate of 35. So now all you got to do is take the 72 grand times.
0.35. So 25,200.
Yeah, by the way, that's a practical application question, right? We can't give up math questions. So whether you like math or hate math, you got to be able to get math questions because there's no interpretation of the right answer. You nailed that one. Very pleased. You recognize zero cost basis. You recognize he was under 59 and a half. So therefore you had that 10%. Excellent, excellent, excellent. You only get 1 point, but if I were in charge, I'd give extra points for certain answers and questions. I'd say, oh, you deserve 2 points on that one.
Yes. Uh,
All right. So phantom income. I like this term. I get accused of using some of this language in a way that is confusing to people. And I always kind of try and, defend myself as a tutor by saying, listen, you got to rise up to the test. I don't have to sink down to where you're at. We got to bring you up to this language because a lot of it is vocabulary on, I think one of the best analogies is like learning a foreign language, right? So.
Um, I know, zero coupons don't pay income like they pay it
That's right. So you're
not
not
tax
receiving any money.
at the
That's
end.
exactly right.
So that would be zero coupons.
Excellent. Right. You got to do straight line amortization upward called accretion.
Mhm.
That is the imputed interest you're receiving. You owe taxes on it. Kind of sucks paying taxes on money you're not actually receiving.
Mhm.
And that's what that term means, being taxed on money you're not actually getting. Right. So very much, I can't imagine any draw of your test. I'm wishing for you a dream draw.
Hmm.
Everything you studied shows up, and you say, well, I don't know what the big deal is, but you got to be prepared for a face of death draw.
I have
And
on
it's
my,
about probabilities. And zero coupon bonds are very high probability.
yep.
When reading a corporation's annual report, a registered rep notices that there are 100 million shares authorized. So authorized shares are the maximum number of shares a corporation can issue under its terms of its charter. It has 7 million shares outstanding. These are shares that have been placed with investors. So I don't know if it's going to be relevant or not, but we have 30 million shares that are authorized but unissued. So, we could issue 30 million more without amending the corporate charter. We have 10 million shares in the treasury. These are shares that have been repurchased by the corporation. We should definitely know that treasury stock pays no dividends, has no voting rights. And now we should know that outstanding is 60 million shares because treasury is issued 70 million minus treasury equals outstanding. So we have 60 million shares outstanding. Based on this information, the representative would deduce the number of unissued shares is. The number of unissued shares is. Now, this is a kind of it could be a tricky question, and depending on whether we try and make it trickier than it is, or what we want to do here.
Okay, the unissued. Well, so authorized, issued, and outstanding. So it would be
So
outstanding.
yeah, it looks like Dean blew it here because we said 100 million authorized, 70 million shares outstanding. So that means we already took the issued less the treasury, right? So that's kind of jerky here. So 70 million shares is after we took the 10 million back into the treasury.
Okay, so these ones trick me.
Yeah, this one's a tough one. This one's a tough one.
Unissued share.
So
Now,
it's much tougher than the actual exam. Here's why. So if we, remember this, this is kind of a grade school thing. Something minus 10 equaled 70.
yeah, so it'd be 60. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's right. That's okay. So something minus 10 equaled 70. So that would be 80.
Okay.
So if we have 70 million shares outstanding, and remember, outstanding is issued less treasury. So issued less treasury equals 70 million. So
Hmm.
that means there was originally 80 million shares that were issued.
Okay.
And that means there's 20 million shares that are authorized, but at this point, still unissued.
I see.
Tough one. Yeah, tough one.
Okay.
Yeah, I nearly tripped up on that one too. The reason I didn't trip up is because I caught myself is I said, well, 70, 10. Oh, that's weird. But by the way, this will just be recognition on the test, Sam. A, B, C, D, and you're just gonna have to tell me authorized max number of shares. Issued are shares that have been placed with investors. Treasury shares have been repurchased. No voting, no pays no dividends, and outstanding is issued less treasury.
I see.
So it's easier on the actual exam.
I see.
All the following must be considered by an investment advisor representative before recommending a municipal general bond to a customer, except, I kind of like this question.
Hmm. Well, you certainly need to consider tax status and state of
For
residence.
sure.
Um, the coverage ratio and the rating. Um, I mean, the rating would certainly matter. If you want
Absolutely.
to see or
I
not.
always joke, say muni money is the real person's money. People get really mad, they lose their muni money.
Yeah.
People get upset, they lose their like gambling and options and they lose it. Like, what would you expect? If you buy those Mount Laurel, New Jersey bonds and they default, you're gonna be pissed.
Hmm. I'm gonna go with D then.
That's right. You should know coverage ratio goes with a revenue bond, not a
Yeah,
GO.
that too. Knew it. All right.
Right. So I had a person yesterday. I recommend, Sam, that people take a sheet of paper, fold it in half, and on one side put all the GO terms on the one side and revenues on the other side. And this person said to me, "Well, can you have that for me?" I go, "No, you got to do that yourself." I mean, the channel's self-serve. I'm not, maybe I should have stuff to sell on the channel. Here you go. I think it's more productive if you're kind of doing that yourself. I kind of like this. This is a big part of these exam questions that will be distinguishing between GOs and revenues, and that's what this guide out read. It's a GO, and you should know coverage ratio is not GO.
Okay.
Good job. Client has 21,000 net capital loss this year and plans to apply the maximum deduction between, toward his ordinary income. After this year, he may.
Well, you can deduct a maximum of 3,000 and then carry it forward every year and keep
Yeah,
doing it.
that's exactly what happens, right? Boom. Very much a test question. So if you have $90,000 in paycheck income, ordinary income, you can say 87. And
Mhm.
then you carry that rest forward and you net it out. So you'll be carrying forward here, what, $18,000 to use this next year. If you don't use it all that year, you can use it the next. And I don't live in this world, Sam, but Rupert Murdoch was being asked about $100 million loss he had in this investment. You know, he didn't seem to be very upset about it. And they said, well, you don't seem too uptight about it. He goes, well, I could use the loss. I'm like, man, I wish I lived in a world where, you know, $100 million loss I could use against my gain. And what he was saying is he had $1 billion in gains of selling Fox to Disney. And so he's just going to net the 100 million against the, you know, $1 billion in Disney.
Mhm.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
Not my world, not my world.
Yeah.
The result of declining inflation on outstanding bonds would be,
High inflation. Well, now I know the Fed would raise rates to try and decrease inflation, right?
that's right. So that means the Fed has been successful. So if that's the way you're going to attack it, I like your read. The
Yep.
judgment questions like these, there's a lot of ways to attack. I like your attack line. You're saying, okay, I know the Fed is interested in price stability. They're
Mhm.
interested in fighting inflation, and they've been raising interest rates to do so. But
Which,
now it says that your reason now they've been successful because inflation has been coming down.
Mhm.
So if inflation is coming down, is that good news or bad news for bonds?
Well, if again, if the interest rates go up, that means the prices will go down. So it'd
Yeah,
be,
but it's not about interest rates,
yeah.
it's about inflation. So is declining inflation good or bad for bonds?
Well, um,
So here we go with the test taking trick, right? Would you say that rising inflation is good or bad for bonds?
bad,
Okay, so if rising inflation is bad, then declining inflation is.
good,
So if it's good news for bonds, we would expect the prices of bonds to go
down,
up.
up. Okay.
Good news for bonds, the bond prices go up, right? And if the bonds go up, that means that interest rates, right? Higher prices mean lower yields, right? This one's a tough one. It's a judgment question, right? So think about it. I like what you were attacking. You were on the right track with your judgment. But
Mhm.
think about what you said, rising interest rates. You can use interest rates if you want.
Mhm.
The Fed has said that they're stopping, and everybody's waiting for them to lower interest rates, right? Because when the fight against inflation is over, they're going to lower interest rates. And if they lower interest rates, would that be good news or bad news for bonds?
Well, I guess I would make their prices rise. So that'd
Good
be,
news. There you go, right? Same thing, by the way.
I was
Right?
thinking
So if they
a lower price,
lower interest,
something at a lower price. But I guess for the
yeah.
bond, rather have them a,
As your tutor, I'm not too worried about it because you were on the right track. You were just on the backside of the question,
okay.
right? So it was this declining inflation.
Yeah, that got me.
Not a big deal. So, like I say, your performance is excellent. A couple of judgment. You know, by the way, no matter how hard you work, you're not getting all the judgment questions right because, you know, even yours true. I mean, you know, it depends on what the person wrote the questions getting at.
Yeah.
Good news, I would tell you that Kaplan is intentionally tougher
Mhm.
because, you know, Kaplan's trying to stretch your mind and hope it doesn't go back to the same spot. All right, programs allowing for the direct pass-through of losses income to investors include all the following except, I like this question.
I know DPPs pass through losses, so you can knock.
That's right. So B and C most certainly do.
Those are a type of limited partnership, so
That's exactly
it's
correct. You are
or
exactly correct.
included in that. So it'd
So
be
that
REITs.
50-50. It's either A or D.
Yeah, D REITs. I
Right
know
on. Remember, they don't pass through losses. They pass through how much of their net investment income is a minimum.
90%.
Excellent. Same with mutual funds, right? I wouldn't worry about S corps on your 7, but if you come back for a 66, you should know S corps do have a flow through, but you know, for 7, who cares?
Mm.
An investor opens a long position in one XYZ November 140 call at 7. Disregarding any commissions on the settlement date, the investor,
You pay 700, so you're gonna buy it at the settlement day. You'll buy it
yep,
on 140 times 100, which I'd assume that'd be 14,000. So you're gonna have to,
Oh, be careful. That's if you exercise. You didn't exercise. It said you did an opening purchase. I'm your broker. You call me, you say, Dean, I want to buy one XYZ November 140 call. I see the premium 7. I give you a report. Sam, you bought one XYZ November 140 call at 7.
so you must pay 700 because
Right on.
settlements when you're buying it, not when you're, if it would
Now
say
be
exercise,
careful, right? If I asked you, you would have been right if I said
okay,
exercise.
the settlement
For
does.
American stock, you can say anytime you want, you could exercise that. If you exercise that,
I see.
then I'm going to say, Sam, you need 14 grand.
Okay.
Pay for the stock. You need the cash. When is that $700 going to be debited out of your account?
As in when it settles, like T+1.
Yeah, T+1, right? That's when you're going to see $700 out of your brokerage account, right? Um, if you exercise, that 14 grand would come out of your account on T+2, right? Because that's a stock trade. Just because we're practicing, drilling, and rehearsing, if you buy this XYZ November 140 call at 7, Sam, are you a bull or are you a bear?
If you buy that call, you're a bull.
Excellent. What is your maximum loss as a bull? You're wrong. The stock doesn't go up. What's
Uh,
your maximum?
long call is unlimited gain, so be the premium for the loss.
Right on. So pretty easy to qualify. Sam, is this $700 you can afford to lose?
I think so.
140 or lower, that contract's can expire and you're gonna lose $700, you already told me, but maximum gain.
Unlimited.
Right on. That sounds pretty cool. How with as little as $700, Sam, would you like to control thousands of dollars worth of stock? How with limited risk would you like unlimited reward? Now you got to be right about 3 things here to be a winner. You got to be right about direction, up, how far up to cover your out-of-pocket cost, 7. And you got to be right about the timing. You're saying all this is going to take place between now and the 3rd Friday in November. So it's harder to be right because you got to be right about 3 things. You're buying upward volatility here. You're buying upward volatility. Excellent. What is the total amount that may be invested in a Coverdale ESA? I doubt you're going to see any Coverdale questions. In fact, most firms don't even offer them anymore. If you do see a Coverdale question, it's going to be that they suck as compared to a 529. I'm joking, but
I know
because they just really, they're just, I haven't anybody tell me, I just saw how many billions of dollars are in 529s and how little are in Coverdales anymore. But it's current maximum is per what?
per child. So it'd be
Yeah,
2,000.
stupid. And how much college education can you buy for 2 grand, really?
Not much.
I'm an old guy. I remember when I was in college, I worked my way through college and I could buy my books and pay my bills and, maybe 2,000 a semester, but now I doubt that even gets you the books. Who knows what that gets you now? The call provisions of a municipal issue would be detailed most completely in. This one's kind of interesting.
No, it's not the bond buyer.
I like that process of elimination. That's exactly how I would have attacked this as well. I would have attacked it by saying it's not the bond buyer, it's not the notice of sale, because those would be associated with underwritings. So now you got a 50-50. Now we got left a legal opinion. You should know that's underwriting. So by process of elimination,
What did you say before I missed the other? Well, I'm gonna guess it here. I'm not guessing.
let me just go you through this. A bond buyer would be the right answer on your exam. If they said a newspaper widely read in the municipal market is, you would say the bond buyer. And then as a issuer, we would publish a notice of sale or competitive underwriting in the bond buyer.
Okay.
And as an underwriter, I'd want to know the bond counsel's legal opinion. That's very testable, by the way.
Yeah.
The legal opinion is done by a bond counsel. They're going to give us a qualified or unqualified legal opinion.
Yep.
Unqualified is good.
Yep.
They're opining about legislative authority. The bonds are federally tax exempt. They're exempt from 33. But this isn't asking about any of this. They're just asking us about simply the call provisions.
So be B, bond resolution.
Right on. And where do we find not only this bond resolution, but other bond resolutions? What's that document called where we find the set of covenants or promises or resolutions?
Is that the
Like, for example,
Trust
flow
in
of funds, the trust indenture.
That's right.
The trust indenture is where we find all those promises.
So the official
The
notice
one
of,
we're most concerned. What's that?
the official notice of sale, that's in the bond buyer.
No, notice of sales in the bond buyer. Yeah, that's where we publish it.
Okay. Okay.
The official statements of prospectus, like the trust indenture, is where we find the covenants,
Okay.
the bond resolutions like this.
Yeah.
Who is a call provision advantageous to? The issuer or the bondholder?
Issuer.
Right on. And what kind of interest rate environment?
When interest rates are falling, yeah, you're more likely to be called.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So most issuers would provide you with some call protection.
Mhm.
Most issuers would say, Sam, we're not going to call this away from you for at least X number of years and at some kind of a price. And since that's advantageous to the issuer, you would expect as a bondholder to get a higher coupon.
Yep.
Right? Because they got to compensate you for this idea that you may not be able to hold it to maturity. Excellent. Oh my God. I'm hoping Sam, as your tutor, you're doing pretty well. So I think based so far, I don't want to jinx you. I think if you're operating from abundance, I might choose to just guess B on this one, assign to the universe and move on.
How about it?
It's a whole paragraph.
Yeah.
However, we might not be as bad as we think. I like to, sometimes in big ones like this, I like to read the last sentence first just to see where this is. What might happen. Okay, so maybe I want to read the sentence before that. The customer instructs you to sell $15,000 worth of securities and send a check for the proceeds to the nephew to compensate for his trouble. Okay, sometimes reading that last sentence there will help me now when I go read this entire paragraph. So Alice Jones is a 62-year-old customer. She tells you that a European nobleman, oh my God, Franz Mecklenburg, it sounds like this is going to be a Dr. Phil episode, met her online. Oh my God, it gets better. And has told her that if she pays taxes of $12,500 on funds Mecklenburg wishes to place in the account of in the U.S., Jones will receive a percentage of the funds amounting to nearly $200,000. What a deal! What a deal! The customer's favorite nephew has offered to help out. Jones is to write the nephew a personal check for the amount of the tax, and he will see to it that the payment is made. The customer instructs you to sell 15,000 worth of securities and send a check for the proceeds to the nephew to compensate him for his trouble. What might happen? What might happen?
I know that B won't happen because they're not 65.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I love it. So you can eliminate that.
I don't know that the nephew's necessarily exploiting the senior. I'd say Franz Nobleman or Franz Mecklenburg might be, not the nephew.
That's right. That's right.
Principal would direct you to refuse to do the trick. Well, I mean, again, they're not 65 or up, so they're not screwed.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. It looks like we might have to do what she's instructing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't like this question, but
Yeah.
you know, it doesn't say, by the way, check with your supervisor. It says your principal is going to direct you to use the trades or do that. So I like it. What the question, I don't like the question itself, but you nailed the testable components to the question, which is no exploited seniors is the 65, not 62, right?
Mhm.
So if she was 65, then she had a trusted contact person, then this might be a different answer. A company has a reverse split of its common stock. The effect on its earnings shall be.
Earnings per share is net income minus preferred or shares outstanding. Well, there would be less shares outstanding doing reverse split, right?
Excellent. That's exactly correct.
The price would increase in that case.
Yeah.
Would it stay the same if they're both balancing out?
Well, it's not balanced out. You were on the right track. You said there's going to be less shares, but remember, the earnings haven't changed.
Oh, the net income.
Right?
You're right. You're right.
Earnings per share will increase because there's less shares. So you were on the right track. The earnings number is the same, but there's now less shares count. There's
Yeah.
lower number of shares out. So,
Okay.
so it's increased. Your logic was correct. You were on the right track. The biggest test question here is there's no change in your proportion ownership.
That's what I was thinking of.
You
Yeah.
have more shares, but so does everybody else, right? One of the most common cases of overlapping debt is when a city's portion of its debt is shared with.
Most common cases. Would that be the county? Because I know states can't have overlapping debt.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. It's called coterminous.
Hmm.
When two or more taxing agencies share some of the same geographic boundaries or able to issue debt separately, counties are financed with property taxes and cities are. The federal government doesn't finance itself with property taxes. Cities and counties do. The state doesn't finance itself with property taxes. Cities and counties do. And again, this whole point about overlapping debt is geo bonds. So it has nothing to do with user fees. Excellent, excellent, excellent. A corporation has $25 million of 5% bonds outstanding. The bonds are callable at 102. Current market rate, interest rates are 6. If the company would like to retire $10 million of the debt, it might be smart to.
Well, if the current rates are higher than the coupon rate, um, but, um, I don't know. I don't think they have any treasury stock at the moment. I don't see anything that points to that. So I'm gonna get
Yeah, I agree with you. I like that. I like what you're doing here.
Use proceeds to call issue. I don't know why you'd want to issue new bonds at a higher rate. That doesn't make any sense.
I like that. I like that. So I love what you're doing. You're right in your logic. So you're using process of elimination. You've eliminated 2. So now you're to the 50-50.
I'm gonna tender offer. A tender offer. That's a purchase in another company, right? That's not anything.
Well, it's any offer. It's any offer. So
Okay.
so now you're to the 2 left, or you're going to call the bonds,
Yeah, I'm gonna
which is
call.
going to cost you 2 million, or you're going to tender for the bonds.
I think I want to call
This is you missed this, and here's why you missed it. If we call the bonds, why would we want to call away at 102? Because if interest rates have gone down or gone up, the bonds have gone down.
them.
So
Right.
the bonds are trading below par.
Okay.
So why would I want to pay 102 for bonds that are trading at a discount?
I see. Okay. You're right. Yeah.
So what I would do is make an offer. I'd say, hey, Sam, the bonds are trading at 90. How about 92? But I like it. I wouldn't feel bad about that one.
Okay.
So, another one of those judgment ones, but all these judgment ones, it doesn't matter. It's not material to your success. I would tell you if we're at risk. I don't think you are.
Okay.
But the 3 judgment ones, you've been pretty, not in left field. You've been getting close to the 50-50s, which is good, right? So, and I told you, you're not going to get all the judgment questions right.
Yeah.
The only reason this isn't you call them, the only reason we don't call them is because that would be 10,200,000. Interest rates have gone up. They tell me it's 6. The
Okay.
bonds pay 5. You were perfect on that part. You said, well, I'm not going to issue bonds at 6 to pay. You eliminated that, right? But the other thing that means is the bonds are at a discount.
Okay.
And so why would we call them away above par when we could just, buy them?
Yeah.
If we do make any kind of a tender offer, whether it's to tender your stock into the treasury or to tender bonds back to us or to make an acquisition of XYZ, how long do we have to leave a tender offer open to the shareholders?
20 days, isn't it?
Excellent. 20 days indeed. An investor holding, which of the following positions is subject or exposed to a potential unlimited loss?
I know short stock is, so that's instantly
Yeah, I
there.
like this question. Indeed, short stock is correct. 2 is definitely going to do the trick.
An uncovered call, short call is unlimited risk.
Excellent. Excellent, right?
I agree.
If I come in your office and say, hey, I want to lose so much money, you can't tell me how much. You say, Dean, if you sell stock you don't own, or you write a naked uncovered call, I'll expose you to unlimited loss potential.
Mhm.
I say, what about a short put? You say, no. A short put, your maximum loss there, Sam, is $5,000 less the premium. Somebody sticks it to you at 50 and the stock is worthless, less your premium. A covered call, your maximum loss is your break even. Excellent. That was a good job. That was perfect. Just because you're doing well, I'm kind of, as you can tell, when people do well, I tend to poke around a little more in their brain housing group just because well, they're doing well. Now, if you're not doing so well, then I don't play with you because we don't want you to have a crisis, right? How could you mitigate? How could you mitigate the risk in that short 100 shares of IBS? What are a couple of arrows in
Yeah.
your quivers for that short stock position?
Well, I know the risk in a short stock is it goes up. If you want to
Yeah,
hedge that risk, protect it, you would want, you could, and you want to buy, you pay for protection. So I learned from Teskey,
that's right.
for protection. So you'd buy a call because that's the same direction.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent. That would change that short stock position from unlimited loss to limited loss. Wow. Now, if your client isn't approved for options, perhaps, what is the type of order you might enter to protect that short stock position to stop the loss?
You would want to slov, you buy stop.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Only because you're doing so well, I'm going to turn it up one other notch. It's just stupid to do a uncovered call. So besides doing the uncovered call, if you really want to sell that 50 call naked and you don't want to do a covered call, maybe you should consider a credit call spread
Mhm.
where you take part of that premium, buy yourself a higher strike call just in case. Excellent. One of your customers would like to begin an investment program, very testable, calling for regular monthly contributions. This is very testable. So we have here test question number one, fixed dollars invested regularly. Which of the following would be the best source for determining if this plan is reasonable? Meaning, can you do, this is called very testable, dollar cost averaging. And to do dollar cost averaging, I need you to commit to fixed dollars invested regularly. You'll end up with a lower average cost than those of the underlying shares, and it doesn't guarantee a profit. So now, I say, Sam, I'm trying to figure out if you can sustain this regular monthly investment plan, dollar cost averaging. So where am I going to look?
Well, I want to make sure you have enough income to,
Excellent. That's exactly right, right? I say, by the way, if you don't, let's find some, right?
yeah, yeah.
Say, hey, Sam, I see here what you're buying a latte every morning for $10.
Well,
That's what you, so I only do when I go to work. I go, okay, so 20 times 10 is like $200. There we go. Why don't you only have free coffee at work? I'm
yeah.
joking, but
I know,
we
Ron.
might want to find that money for you if we can, right?
Yep.
An investor writes a December 85 put for 4 3/4. What is the investor's maximum gain, maximum loss, and break-even point?
So with a short put, the
That's exactly what it is.
um the break even is the strike price minus the premium.
Excellent.
So that'd be 80. So there's three questions there. The short put has, trying to think. I think that would be trying to think of my options matrix.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time. You're on the right track. You're on the right track. Based on your performance thus far, I think you're going to get this. I mean, I'd be
Yeah.
surprised if you don't.
Um, Short put has, it would be the max game would be the premium.
There you go. So you got three choices that say $475.
Um, and the break even's 80/25. And then I know that
There you go. So now you got two choices, A or B, that have 80/25 as the break even and have your max gain.
so then it would be max, I think it'd be B because the maximum loss would be the
Excellent. Excellent. I was going to be surprised if you didn't get that right.
yeah.
You did get it right. Are you bullish or bearish?
A short put, that's bullish.
Excellent. Excellent. For a customer interested in buying an inverse ETF, By tracking the performance of the S&P 500, which of the following market views would make that purchase? Oh my God, this is like a triple Lindy. Most inappropriate. Oh my God. So it's an inverse ETF and inappropriate.
Well, if the market was going up, your ETF would go down, so it'd
That's
be
right.
bullish.
Yeah, you're right. This thing is the triple Lindy, right? You got to go, okay, so what would be right? And that means the bullish would be wrong, right? So, I like this a little bit just because the jerk at me kind of likes it. Only two letters there that change the answer, right? IN.
Mhm.
Because if
Yeah.
you don't catch that IN, then you're gonna feel really good about a miss, right? A customer has substantial passive income from a real estate investment. Which of the following limited partnerships is most suitable for the customer who wishes to offset his this income?
Well, passive income is offset by a passive loss.
There you
Um,
go.
Income safe, equipment leasing is pretty safe, government assisted safe, and I would say that exploratory programs are not very safe. You're more likely to lose at
Mm.
that point.
Excellent, excellent. I said that was excellent. As your broker, I say, listen, we have a lot of passive income. And as you know, Sam, the passive income is trapped over in that category, that basket of your tax return. You can't do anything with that anywhere else. I think what we might want to do is get aggressive. I'm not suggesting we're trying losing money, but if we go for an exploratory wildcat program and we do lose money, at least you can use those passive activity losses against that passive income.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Good job. Good job. What part of an issue of speculative bonds, when part of an issue of speculative bonds with are called, the effect on the remaining bonds would be? So another one of these judgment questions.
Those bonds are called. Um, Speculative bonds. Well, if they're speculative, that'd be a lower quality. Would you want to improve their quality?
Yeah, absolutely. If you got less debt in your life, you become a better credit risk,
Yeah.
right? You say, well, I say, Ben, you have borrowed a lot of money. You say, well, yeah, not as much as I used to. Absolutely. Companies offering investors the opportunity to purchase shares for the next 5 years at a fixed price, slightly above today's market price. Boy, if you miss this one, angels weep for you.
That'd be a warrant.
Yes, I mean, yeah, boy, that's about as close to a layup as you're going to get on the actual exam, right? So, how are warrants? We just said here these warrants are 5 years and are exercisable above the current market price. How are these different than rights?
Rights are shorter term,
That's
and
right.
they would be exercisable below.
Excellent. 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 Long an ABC 60 call and short an ABC April 70 call is.
I instantly can tell it's spread because you're long and short
It
the same.
is a spread.
It's not a calendar spread because they're both in
You're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct.
so you in a spread, the dominant leg has the higher wait,
Yeah, that's true.
the
That's
higher
what you're
premium.
saying is true. So you just
Yeah.
gotta connect the dots here. Right? You're on the right track.
So if it's a higher premium, um, so with the call, the lower strike price is a higher premium.
Yep.
That would mean that you'd be long the higher premium. So that would mean it'd be a debit because you have more money out than in. So it'd be a net debit.
Really so impressive. That was very impressive.
Yeah.
I personally think this is the hardest kind of an option question where you got missing
Yeah.
premiums and you got to figure out the lower, higher, longer, where the premiums are. Uh, Perfect. Again, if I could award more points, I would make that a 5 point answer. The warrants, I would give somebody like a half a point that got that question right. But Excellent, excellent, excellent. I mean, if you now, by the way, you is your tutor, you're setting high expectations for your continuing performance
I
because
know.
I'm saying, okay, if he can do that, if an investor has received dividends and capital gains distributions on mutual funds she has held for 4 months, she will pay.
Well, I know with mutual funds, they're usually long term because it's based on how long the portfolio's held the.
That's exactly right. You're exactly right. So the
Yeah.
capital gains are going to be based on how long the fund has held that.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be C because it's not the length of time the customers held it.
Perfect. I love process of eliminations working for you again. C is out.
And, no tax until she liquidates. No, I think you're taxed on dividends and capital gains with those mutual funds.
Right on. Right on.
Not B or
Right
C.
on.
Um, I mean, I would have to go with A.
Excellent. Another excellent performance. I mean, you were perfect on that, on your logic, perfect on how you worked your way through the question. Excellent. If ABC Corporation reports a loss for the year, it's obligated to pay interest on all the following bonds except.
I know that adjustment bonds are the same thing as income bonds, which
Yeah.
there's not a required interest payment. So adjustable bonds.
Oh, that's right. Excellent.
Yeah.
Which of the following would not be examples of overlapping debt?
Um, so three wouldn't be because it's a state. You're talking about a
Yeah,
state.
that's right. So I like it. You're very good at process of elimination. You are absolutely correct.
So it means B and C, one and two, state office building. Well, that means county park district. Counties, I want to say A because again, it's another state problem.
Well, you say it's A, one and
I'm
two.
sorry, I'm not A. I meant one.
Yeah, you said it correct. So I've done that too. Be careful. You don't want to get the right answer and then squeeze the trigger. I've done that as a person operating the mouse, where the student like yourself has given me the right answer, and I click the wrong button, and we go to correct it. You see that we had you don't but listen. Good news. As your tutor, I think you're operating where I want you to be operating, from abundance and not scarcity.
Yeah.
So I think even if you accidentally hit the wrong trigger on the thing, I don't think that you're at risk. But God knows when people are, you don't want to be giving up questions that way. That's a bitter pill to swallow. If you got the right question, you hit the wrong button. Many investors diversify by adding foreign securities to their portfolios. Those who do so by purchasing foreign stock mutual funds are least likely to be concerned with.
Okay, well, they will be concerned with currency risk and they'll be concerned
Right
with
on.
risk. Um, just based on being in the stock market, that would assume they'd be concerned with market risk.
Absolutely.
I would say that C is my answer.
Yeah, because we can redeem, right?
Yeah.
I can say I'm out of here, right? So good job. Excellent. Using yield-based options, which of the following hedging strategies offers a bond portfolio manager the greatest protection against rising long-term interest rates?
Okay. So interest rates are going to rise. You buy
Again,
protect.
you're on the right
Yeah.
track. That's what you're afraid of, is interest rates rising. So your logic is correct.
You buy
So
protection. So be A or
that's
B.
right on. I
Um,
love it.
the direction of buying
Your
a call
protection and
going
buying an
up.
option 50-50.
I'm gonna go with A because buying a call is protecting the upside.
Perfect. That is so perfect. What you answered correctly here, Sam, and what the test issue is that yield-based options have a direct relationship with interest rates. A direct relationship with interest rates. Pretty impressive. That would be another one I would give you more than 1 point for. And I like your logic. So I'm just giving you kudos here. You're starting to rock and roll on the judgment questions. You know, we had two or three of those where you're a little rocky. Not in a way that put you at risk in any way, but you know, your logic was okay. And then I was kind of, as your tutor said, okay, connect the dots, my friend.
Mhm.
And these last two or three, you're threading that needle straight through to the answer. So excellent. A married couple has several individual and joint accounts with your firm. One spouse calls you and requests that you make a transfer of funds between the accounts. This would not present a problem if.
Um, cars. Oh, cars. I think it's B because
Yeah, by the way, trust your gut on the test too, right? You're correct. Particularly in your case, your performance is also indicative that you should go with your gut. Your flash response is always going to be your best response. So, you know, you should never hesitate on squeezing that trigger. You know, when you're doing practice questions, you can hesitate, but on the test, don't hesitate. You know, aim and shoot, point and click, and move on to the next performance opportunity. You only want to change an answer or not go with your gut is if you know you got it wrong and you know what the right answer is. By the way, too, you don't change the answers. You know you got it wrong. You still don't change it. If you absolutely know, you say, okay,
okay.
I know what it is, then change it, but otherwise leave it alone. Okay. You know, I see these ones and I get kind of excited to see when we're going to bump into, you know, options questions that maybe get you a little wobbly. So far, you haven't wobbly at all.
That,
Which of the following option contracts are out of the money when DTET is trading at 88?
all right. Well, I know a put is in the money when the strike is above the stock. So that's one's not it.
You're correct.
Two would
By the
not.
way, if one's not it, that means two's not because it's the
Yeah.
relationship of the strike price to the market price.
So three and four. Well, I know obviously calls have money.
Excellent.
Let's strike.
Bam. Oh, man, you know, I told you I'm kind of a masochist. I'm hoping we find one we trip you up on. So far, we haven't found one to trip you up. Investors should always be aware of taxes applicable to investments they own. Which of the following taxes might be associated with income derived from American depository receipts, but not income from other investments?
Well, I know that dividends from ADRs are taxed by the foreign before they make their way here. So foreign.
Well, yeah, excellent. Only because you're doing so well. Turn it up a notch. Okay, so you own Telephones to Mexico as an ADR, Sam. You were supposed to receive $8,000 in dividend income, but the Republic of Mexico kept 15%. By the way, it doesn't matter if it's the Kingdom of Norway or the Republic of Mexico, it's always 15%. My question to you is how do you handle that $1,000 that you didn't get? Do you A, claim the net of 850 on your tax return? B, do you claim the entire amount of 1,000 and take a credit for the 150 that the government of Mexico kept? Or C and D? I'll just tell you C and D are wrong answers.
I'd say a credit. So B.
Yeah, you're correct. You would claim the entire amount and take a credit. Credit's a dollar for dollar whack out of your tax bill. So whatever I owe my government, I say I'm sending 150 less because you know, talk to the Republic of Mexico.
Okay.
By the way, low probability, but it's there. And when they do have, when people see it, it's the Kingdom of Norway.
Hmm.
Who cares, right? It doesn't matter what country they give you. They're just trying to cloud your mind with the Kingdom of Norway, right? It doesn't matter if it's dividends from a foreign stock or interest received from a foreign bond. It's the same.
The
It's the same.
15% you're saying?
Yeah, that
That's
15%.
that's a testable.
Yeah,
Fif-
I very low
okay.
probability, very low.
All
I
right.
mean, yeah. I consider it to be what I call sometimes when they disappear, I call them legacy questions where they used to be there and then they go away for a while. And then every once in a while, Sam, I'll have somebody, I'll tell them, I think it's a legacy question. Nobody's seen it in a long time. I was doing this class for this firm, they're all testing tomorrow. I don't know why they would want to talk the night before the exam in a setting like this, because I think it could make people go backwards instead of forwards. But anyway, so one of the questions somebody had, and I answered it, and I said, nobody's seen that in a long time, but here's the question, here's the answer. And she sent me an email that was, Dean, I had it. I go, well, there you go. Because it's showing back up and now it's rising from the dead. It's back, A corporation at 35% tax bracket reports operating income of 4 million for the year. The firm has received $200,000 in preferred stock from domestic corporations, assuming no other items of income or expense. What is the customer's tax liability or the company's tax liability? I don't think you'll have to actually do this, but I do like what it's what it's getting at in terms of a test content.
Well, I'm thinking back to the earnings per share, which is the net income minus preferred dividends.
Yeah.
So which would be the, oh yeah, just I'm thinking of I'm seeing the preferred dividends and income here. Which would be
Yeah.
4 million minus 200,000 times 35%.
I like it. You're on the right track, right? So now remember the 200,000. So you said it said the firm also received the 200,000, right? So 4 million of the operating income is going to be taxed at 35%, right? Because they tell you that.
Okay,
But what about that preferred stock? How much of that's going to be taxed?
50%.
Excellent. So 35% of 4 million.
1,400,000 and then
That's right. And then half of 200.
100,000.
Right on.
Tax that 100,000 too.
Yeah. Right. So it's
So
excellent.
yeah, that's the answer. Okay.
I don't think you're going to have to do that at all on your exam, but I do think, and you got the testable part, no surprise,
Yeah.
that a dividend of one corporation paid to another corporation is 50% tax excludable. I think on your test, that'll be aim and shoot, point and click. Now you have to calculate the adjusted earnings and the tax, right? Just as a resident of Minnesota is in a 28% federal tax bracket and a 4% state tax bracket. The this person must pay federal and state taxes on.
Well, I know A wouldn't be it 'cause it's a muni bond. So that'd be
That,
tax free.
yeah,
So treasury bills are only taxed at the federal level.
right on. Right on.
Home loan banknotes. I want to say it's Fannie Mae because
You're correct. You're correct. Exactly right. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Ginnie Mae, fully taxable.
Yeah.
Fully taxable. A charge of churning would likely be brought against a registered rep who was found to have disregarded the FINRA rule on. Kind of a weird question.
I don't think D wouldn't be it.
Yeah, you're right. It's not D. It's not D.
When I think of quantitative suitability, I'm thinking of a quantity, right?
Yeah, I like it.
Right. I mean, it sounds reasonable. So I'm gonna go with C.
I love it. I love it. Exactly correct. That's exactly the right kind of thing to think about. Quantity, turning too many trades that are excessive in size and frequency. Within a firm commitment underwriting, which documents details the responsibilities of each firm?
It's not letter of intent. I I think it's A because I mean it
Yeah,
sounds
you're correct.
like each different firm.
You are correct. It's actually A. And the reason it's A is the other ones you were right. Letter of intent is a mutual fund for test purposes. It's not the registration statement. The underwriting agreement is between the issuer and the underwriters. So you are correct. It is A. Now, in a firm commitment underwriting, we're acting in our dealer principal capacity.
Yeah.
And in our syndicate, it would either be a Western divided syndicate or an Eastern undivided syndicate. More often than not testable. A firm commitment underwriting would be a Western divided syndicate. What goes down stays down. And so let's say that this is a $10 million underwriting. and your firm is a member of the syndicate and takes down $1 million. Your firm's liability is $1 million. So if you sell 800,000, 200,000 goes into inventory. If it was undivided, more common with best efforts, but if it was undivided Eastern, it would be important to know that's 10%. Million of the 10, and that would be your liability. You'd be based on your percentage. So very testable. The sale of non-exempt securities. When I think of non-exempt, I think corporate securities. When I think of exempt, I think government's immunity. So when I hear the word non-exempt, I go corporate securities. That doesn't work all the time, but it works, enough as a test-taking kind of a trick, right? So the sale of corporate securities may take place without an SEC registration if done in a manner that qualifies for a transactional exemption. These are called safe harbors. There are certain types of transactions. It's not the security that's exempt, Sam, it's the way we're selling it.
Okay.
An example of this would be a sale complying with
For some reason, 135A sounds like non-exempt in my head. That's so be A.
that was your first miss in a long
Yeah, I
time.
don't know. This is a hard one.
This would be what you should have been thinking here is a Reg D private placement. A Reg D private placement. And we have two of them. We have the answer to this question, a 506B
Hmm.
and a 506C.
Okay, I
And
was
so private placement, so very testable.
yeah.
By the way, your answer 135A is about advertising, for mutual funds, not testable. In a 506B, there are testable distinctions between a 506B and a 506C. In both versions of these Reg D private placements, I can have test question an unlimited number of accredited investors, an unlimited number of institutional investors that can buy the unregistered securities. What is an accredited investors?
That's someone with $1 million net worth, excluding their home, um,
Yeah,
and, or they make $200,000 in a year. If they're a
excellent.
couple, 300.
And I have some good news for you, Sam. Once you pass your Series 7 and are in good standing, you too are an accredited investor.
How about that?
So Series 7's in good standing. Good standing means you got to have a firm. It's just not passing a 7. You got to be, at your firm. You two will be accredited. I had a young lady and she told me that this guy was chatting her up at the bar telling me he was a accredited investor. She had no idea what he was talking about. And when we were going over it, she goes, now I done. He was trying to impress me that he's the 100 million. And she goes, I can't wait to go back to the bar and tell him, I too am an accredited investor. So the key point is you can protect your own assets.
Hmm.
Okay, so now back to this question. How is a 506B different than a 506C?
The 506C, you can advertise. It's limited
Excellent.
to accredited investors.
There you go. You're on exactly. So now you just got to tell me 506B and you got it.
He cannot be advertised.
Right on.
Maximum of 35.
That's perfect. You got it, my friend. Excellent.
Non-accredited or accredited?
Now, listen, as your tutor, I'm a little upset with you because you got all that other crap right, and then you just, missed this part,
I was
right? So
thinking
that's kind
like
of
advertising. That wasn't stuck in my head with the you can or cannot advertise. I didn't.
yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. I like it.
That
I
was
like
my
having. I like doing these things because I like to see how we got somebody.
yeah.
Boom. How we gonna,
That was a
do that
guess.
Jedi mind trick on them.
That was a
You're
guess.
still, like I say, no worries, no worries, no
Yeah.
worries whatsoever. The customer would like to set aside some money for his grandson's college education, an IRA. Which of the following of Coverdale's is true? I told you they suck. I'm joking, but we always are going to say the 529 is the better way to do this than as a Coverdale. But that being said,
C is not true. It's 2000.
that's correct.
Um, I want to say there's an age limit on the
There
ESA.
is. There is.
At 25, or it's at 18,
It's actually 30.
30. Okay.
That's
Um,
a, on this question, I say, Sam, who cares?
okay.
When I mean who cares, I mean for test purposes. I don't even think you're
Yeah.
gonna see it. Kaplan sometimes asks for my help in developing content for him, and I always said, what I really would like to be able to do is delete questions.
Yeah.
Get rid of questions that I don't think are, reflective or part of the test. Same thing with the slides when, they contract every once in a while with me to teach a class for them, and they'll let me add to slides. I can add things, but I can't delete them. And they know they won't let me delete because the decks would go, they would collapse, investors in the highest federal income tax bracket and is subject, this is very testable, to the AMT. Which of the following securities should an agent recommend?
Off.
I take that back. I like the question, but the thing that's going to be testable is this idea of the AMT,
Yeah.
and that you most certainly aren't going to recommend B in this circumstance.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
So, I think this question is kind of backwards because they're asking what you would recommend. But let's be clear, very testable. You certainly aren't going to recommend an industrial revenue bond because those are supporting a private activity.
Yeah. Um, I obviously highest federal income tax would make me believe it'd be D, muni
Yeah,
GL.
excellent. Excellent. Boom. Anytime they talk tax bracket or uncomfortably high tax bracket, it's a muni question. The principal tax benefit of investing in an exploratory oil and gas drilling program is derived from.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is another one. All vendors go way overboard on partnerships.
Yeah. Um, well, it wouldn't be capital appreciation. I think there's more risk of
Yeah,
loss
you're right.
than
You're
gain.
right. It's not capital appreciation.
Um, Depreciation. I don't think it'd be depreciation.
You're saying depreciation?
I'm saying it would not be.
Oh, okay. All right. Let me get rid of that. That's not correct. Boom.
I'm
Okay,
saying
so you've eliminated C, you eliminated D, so you got a 50-50.
um intangible drilling costs can have no salvage value after the fact. It I want to say recapture. Um,
It's actually intangible drilling costs.
okay.
These are tax benefits. These are recovery for like doing your geological survey, and these are deductible in the year we get them. Recapture is when your cost base is zero, and then we sell it. That's not a benefit. That's actually going to be a taxable event. So if I call you and say, as you're counting, hey, there's a recapture on the program, that's not good news. That's bad news because that means you're going to have to pay some taxes. Tough one. I don't think you're going to see this on the test.
Okay.
And tangible drilling costs are also preference items on the AMT. And again, I just don't think it's a big deal on the test. Your broker dealer is not self-clearing, but instead is an introducing broker dealer. Therefore, all extension requests made to your broker dealer's SRO on behalf of the customer would be made by.
Self-clearing. Introducing. Um, well, if they're not self-clearing, wouldn't they need a clearing agent?
Yeah, absolutely. You're clearing from National Financial or Pershing or whoever. I don't think this is the test question. The test question is you bought this stock, you didn't pay for it. I get you an extension. Now, T plus two, that's testable. Under Reg T, customers get 2 additional days. So I can sell you out anytime after T plus 4, T plus 2 plus 2. I can sell you out. But let's say I get you a couple extensions and you still don't pay and I sell you out. So now you have bought the stock and you haven't paid for the stock. And there's a profit. So let's say you buy 1,000 shares at 40, you don't pay for it, and I sell you out now the stock is 50. Test question number 1, do I have to send you that $10,000 profit? So you bought this stock, you haven't paid for it. By the time I sell you out, there's a profit. Do I have to give it to you?
Um, no.
The answer is yes. I have to give you the $10,000 profit. But then I say, Sam, You free rider, you
Okay.
took a free ride, a ride you didn't pay for. Test question: what do we do to people who take free rides?
We or don't they get banned or fined?
We freeze their account. We freeze their account for 90 days.
Hmm.
And what does that mean to say your account is frozen for 90 days? Does that mean we won't trade with you? No. It means for the next 90 days, you have no credit privileges.
Okay.
If
No.
you want to buy something, you want your money up front. If you want to sell something, you want securities in the account. Broker dealers, we have very liberal credit privileges. And if you violate our already liberal credit privileges, we're going to freeze the account.
Okay.
Now, I doubt you'll see this, but if you send me the 40 grand and I send you the 50, I'll remove the freeze. So as long as I get your money before you get broker dealer money, I will remove that freeze. When a corporation has an IPO, the shares being offered for sale are kind of similar to the question we had a little earlier.
Yeah, I would say that would be authorized shares.
Yeah, excellent. Boom. Which of the following investments is the most liquid?
Common stock.
Got you again. Gotcha. Money market mutual funds allow you to have a checking account, Sam,
Hmm.
where you can just write a check off the money market fund and we will clear it. So there's two things that make C better than B. One is money market mutual fund, not a money market security, a money market mutual fund. A lot of broker dealers offer what we call cash management accounts. And this is linked into your brokerage account. I say, Sam, what would you like to do with your cash? Would you like us to put it in a traditional bank account for you? Or would you like us to sweep that cash into a money market fund? And you say, well, Dean, do I have access to the money market fund? I say, Sam, yeah, we're going to hook you up with a checkbook and we're going to hook you up with a credit card that's linked into that money market account.
Hmm.
So you can just go do whatever you want to do. And we will take care of clearing your check or paying your Visa bill by liquidating the appropriate number of money market shares. The NAV on that is $1. This one's a tough one. And
Yeah.
the reason it's a tough one is I'm with you, T+2, right? I joke whether it's New York or NASDAQ. I always use the story of Steve Ballmer wanted to buy the Clippers, and he said he was going to come up with $2 billion and knock Oprah and David Geffen out of their fellow billionaires. Even though they're billionaires like him, he said he knew they weren't that liquid, that they couldn't come up with $2 billion on T+2. And he just liquidated $2 billion worth of Microsoft to pay for the Clippers. Oh well, right. Not every I was joking. I said David Rubenstein is a co-founder Carlisle. He bought the Baltimore Orioles. He's working on that financing, and he said Bloomberg's part of his investor group. But David is very liquid, so they were asking about buying sports teams. He said, "Well, there's only a certain amount of people that are liquid enough to buy sports teams and come up with billions of dollars." Cuban. I was joking about Cuban. He just sold to the Adler family controlling interest in the Mavericks, and the way they paid for it was selling their Venetian stock. They
Hmm.
just literally sold $2 billion worth of stock and handed Cuban the $2 billion. Mark isn't that liquid. Don't get me wrong. Mark
Yeah.
is a billionaire too. Doesn't have $30 billion of Venetian stock laying around. Who's the guy today? He just sold his fracking business to a company for $27 billion. And they said he's taking stock. So he's going to have that. So not a
So
bad miss, my friend. That's a miss. I think that's what, again, I'm not worried as your tutor about a miss like that.
so now because of the mutual fund, is that technically more liquid because you could redeem it at the end of the day and you get the
Yeah. It's not 7 days even. The rule is 7 days, but as I told you, we'll let you, we'll clear your checks for you pending the redemption.
so the mutual fund because it's a money market mutual fund.
Yeah, we do have to redeem in 7 days, but so by the way, I don't think it's a bad miss whatsoever,
Okay.
right?
All I need
But
to know. Enough.
by the way, if it just said there's a lot of situations when that would have been correct. If you didn't have choice C, that would have been correct.
Yeah. Okay.
And if choice C wasn't a money market mutual fund, it would just said money market, that would have been correct.
Okay.
Again, I kind of like this one. Let's see how you do on this one. The premium on an XYZ January 30 call is 3.5 1.5. Well, the premium on the XYZ January 30 put is 2.25, 235. A customer receiving or establishing a short straddle would receive premiums of,
Okay, so. So you'd be short of the. Let's do it. I know I've seen one like this. I know I can get it too.
let's just talk about not options. Let's talk about securities in general.
Yeah.
When we're looking at a bid and an ask, a low
Uh,
price and a high,
yeah.
if you are a customer and you are selling, so in a short straddle, are you buying or are you selling?
A
The
short
option.
straddle you're selling. I'm
I
sorry.
mean, so when customers sell, what price do they get? Do they get the low price or the high price when they sell?
You sell for the low price.
That's right, the bid.
That's right.
So
Okay.
when you sell that January 30 call, you're going to receive,
3.
when you sell the 30 put, you're going to receive,
Uh, you're gonna buy for the high price, so 235.
no, 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 it's short straddle. You're selling both these option contracts.
You're
You're selling the 30 call, short straddles are selling a call and selling a put.
oh
You're selling the 30 call, you told me correctly, you're going to receive 3, the bid. When
yeah.
you sell the 30 put, you're going to receive 2.25 or 2.35.
I feel like I'm getting tripped up with the put because I'm thinking of a short put that you would buy. So you'd be
No,
buying.
short, you buy the stock, but not the option. You're selling the option.
So you'd
You're
receive.
correct, obligation to buy the stock, but the reason you're obliged to sell the stock, buy the stock is because you sold the put.
Okay.
You're the putee,
The 225.
right?
Okay.
That's right.
So
Okay, so I kind of like this one. It had a lot going on. This had a bid and an ask,
okay.
right? A bid and ask, and we should know that. So now that we've done that, though, let's try the other version. The premium on January 30 calls is quoted as 3 on the bid, 315 on the ask, while the premium on the XYZ January 30 puts is quoted at 225 on the bid, 235 on the ask. A customer establishing a long strap would pay total premiums of
Buy for the high price. It would be
315, I'm deed, 235, be
550.
550 or 5. I'm terrible at arithmetic, so I'm gonna get out my calculator.
550.
315 plus 235, 550, right? 550. Okay. Only because you're doing so well, and I told you I'm going to kind of stretch your mind a little bit. We have identified this as a short straddle that we receive premiums of 5.25.
Mhm.
Based on that, what is our upside and downside break even in this short straddle? What is our upside and our downside break even?
It'd be 35. Yeah, 35.25, and it would be
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm terrible at arithmetic. So I would take
5.
my calculator and I take 30 minus 5.25. I get 24.75.
I got
Okay, so those are two break evens. Where do we want the market price of XYZ to be
inside.
in relation? There you go, right on.
Of it.
What is our maximum loss in this short straddle?
I know short straddle is I like to think of it as stable gain, unlimited loss. Like I
There you
think
go. That's perfect. Exactly correct. That's exactly
of
correct.
gain.
When do you sell a straddle? So when do you deploy or write a straddle like this, short of straddle?
When you expect the stock to stay neutral.
That's right. There you go. In the trading range. Excellent. 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 The over counter market is, I like this.
That's an auction market. That's
Uh,
not.
eh. New York Stock Exchange is an auction market. The over the counter is negotiated. So you're on the backside of that. Like, oh, okay. Like I say, as your tutor, though, I got to tell you, you did all that work on the straddle, and then you missed an aim and shoot point click. Oh well. But like I say, you're still operating from abundance, so it's not a problem. It's
Yeah.
not a problem. Securities by which of the following are considered to have the strongest backing? This is very testable.
Yep. That's Ginnie Mae. It's backed by
Right
the
on. There's three questions about Ginnie Mae. Ginnie Mae's pay interest and principal monthly. Ginnie Mae's are fully taxable, and Ginnie Mae's have the full faith and credit of the United States government. There is no draw of Series 7 in which you don't need to know the Ginnie Mae's pay interest and principal monthly. They're directly backed by the U.S. Treasury, and they're fully taxable. When a stock's trend line is moving primarily in a horizontal direction, a technical analyst would consider.
Well, if it's moving horizontal, I would have to say it's consolidating, just kind of staying.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. I mean, as a technical analyst, that doesn't do anything for us, right? What we want this thing to do is break out. Break out. We either want it to break through its resistance or break through its support. In a chart, what is the top line called? The support line or the resistance line?
The top line's the resistance, bottom's the support.
Right. Bottom line is the support line. If a technical analyst wanted to place or establish a long position, if it broke through the resistance line, what kind of order might he place above the resistance line to establish a long position?
Um, via buy stop.
Excellent, excellent. I'm telling you, my friend, you're performing. When's your test date?
This Friday.
Love it, love it, love it. By the way, I love it's Friday because you could go backwards between now and if it was too far out, where you're at, man, is where you need to stick the landing. So I'm pleased that you're telling me it's Friday because you're performing well, and I want you to be able to go do the data up. So the opposite would be the sell stop below the support line, right?
Yep.
Only because you're doing so well. I know you're not at risk. What can you tell me about a charting pattern known as a head and shoulders pattern?
Head and shoulders pattern. The one I think of is a head and shoulders bottom, which is not a reversal of a downtrend.
Yeah, that's right.
I
That's
think
right. So you could tell me either one. So you told me the inverted. So the one that's not inverted would be the end of the bull, beginning of the bear. Right. So you got two verses. Excellent. 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 In the partnership agreement of a limited partnership, all the following would be disclosed except.
um, I know that limited partners can vote on certain things, so I know that would be disclosed. Um, be compensated. That will be disclosed. So C and D. Um,
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
are general partners elected? I didn't think they were elected.
Uh, the procedures, you're correct. I mean, boom.
Right? They're not
I
elected.
think this is a stupid
That's not a
question. Yeah,
thing.
stupid question. I don't think you're going to see anything about it. And I think all vendors go completely overboard on partnerships as it relates to the actual test. I think didn't we just do this one? Which
Similar.
of the following agency securities has the strongest backing of timely payment of principal and interest?
Ginny Mae.
Let's see if I can sucker you on this one. I don't think I'm gonna sucker you on this one, but let's see if Kaplan can sucker you.
Well, an agency security.
That's right, we didn't get you.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it would have been easy to not catch the agency thing and
Yeah.
squeeze the trigger on treasury notes, right? Good job. Customer sold 1,000 shares of XYZ at a loss. A wash sale was sold within 30 days if your customer.
It's the same or similar security.
Yeah, you think you're clever. Basically, you think you're being clever, and we say, hey, you're not so clever as you think.
Buying a call would be the same thing.
Right on. So you're right. It's going to be buying the call, and boom, right? Because that gets you back into the position.
Mhm.
So excellent, excellent, excellent. I was just looking to see before we squeeze that trigger. I just wanted to see if I had any other call choice, right? Just to make sure it's the only one that's available to me. The term junk bond applies to a Standard and Poor's rating no higher than. Wow, boy, Kaplan's kind of being a jerk in terms of
Yeah,
grammar on this particular.
I know the line is at triple B and B. It's anything below
Yeah, and so you just gotta be real careful with the grammar, right? So
double
I
B.
like to substitute no higher than.
To be no
No,
higher.
the test they some say below which. So it's either B or D depending on how you're reading that grammar. So
Yeah, that's tricky. I mean, I would say no higher than double B is the highest junk bond.
that's right, right? Higher than that would be investment grade, right?
Yeah.
Triple B is investment grade. So just be careful on the test. They might say below which it could be triple B. So just, grammar here. Be careful with grammar. A couple with a child who is 6 years away from entering college has saved $150,000 for that child's college tuition. Which of the following portfolio mixes would be most suitable for meeting that investment objective?
So they have majority of the tuition paid. So I'd like for them to keep it safe, keep the principal safe for the time being.
Yeah, I like it.
I'll definitely say no. A would not be it because it's too much risk with equities.
Love it. Love it.
Same situation.
That's right. So if you're saying A, then you got to take out B as well.
Yeah. Um, you would want, well, strips. Um, corporate bonds, I feel like have too much risk for all that money. I got to go see.
You're,
Yeah.
you're you're really good, Sam. You're really good at process of elimination. That'll put you in good shape on Friday. I like how you're attacking some of these questions through process of elimination, getting to the 50-50, and then, squeezing the trigger. So that'll put you in pretty good stead. ABC Corporation reports a loss for the year. It's obligated by all the following. It looks like a repeat or
Yeah.
similar to what we had before. Right,
Yeah.
boom. It's the same question, basically. Which of the following insures GO bonds? I like this one.
Ooh, sure, Geo. Um, well, the FDIC is that's for banks.
Yeah, I love it. Again, you're whipping into your
Yeah.
process of elimination bag, and it's working for you. It's not D.
SIPC protects investors when they're investing.
No,
Um,
it's not B. C. It's not C.
um, Syndicate manager, I don't think they can do that. I'm gonna go with B.
Yeah, yeah. The test question is not so much who does it, is what they do. They
Mhm.
ensure the timely payment of interest and principal, not the market price. Many businesses open brokerage accounts to invest surplus funds. Which of the following business forms be suitable? Would suitability information on the owners not be required? Kind of a weird way to ask this, but I like it.
Well, if you're in a sole proprietorship, you wouldn't need to. I mean, I don't
Well, I
know.
still need suitability information for a sole proprietor.
You
It's
would.
easier because it's just him.
Then well, maybe then it would be. Let me think. What's the following business? No one owns a C corp. That would be for the investors in the C
There
corp.
you go. Yeah, yeah. If I open an account with Apple, I don't care about the Apple shareholders.
Yeah.
Right. Need the corporate charter, right? Yeah. A municipality has an ad valorem tax. Here's a legacy question. The ad valorem tax testable is based on the assessed valuation, not the market value. I doubt we're going to, I haven't had anybody in years tell me they had to calculate an ad valorem tax, a property tax based on the mill rate. But here the mill rate is 10 mils, and a mill is 0.001 of the assessed valuation. So we would take, 0.001 times 100,000, and we'd come up with 1,000. But I haven't had anybody tell me they've had to do this in years. It's like the other one that people are still teaching that nobody's telling me they've seen in years about order priority. Pro golfers don't miss. I haven't had anybody tell me they've had to do that one time. When determining whether a tax swap of municipal bonds will result in a wash sale, which of the following is not considered? Which of the following is not considered?
Similar. Well, if you had a similar, muni bonds would be similar in their maturity. That would be something that would make
Yeah,
it.
we got to alter. Yeah, I think you're on the right track. We got to alter the maturity. We could alter the maturity and make it different. Could we alter what else could we alter?
The
So
issuer would make that same issuer would
yeah, we
be.
can alter where from Los Angeles to San Francisco. Indeed. What else might we alter?
Um, Now the coupon. Uh, I mean, if I guess the principal amount is $1,000 par would be kind of standard. So I'd have to go
Yeah,
with
there you go.
yeah
Yeah,
that the coupon could
yeah.
be the same.
I'm going to take 100,000, swap it into another 100,000, right?
Yeah.
All the following events would affect the NAV per share of a mutual fund, except
Okay. You redeem shares. Uh, Fund pays dividends. That. Mm, mm, mm. They receive cash dividends. I feel like that. Oh man, changes in the market value will affect it. Certainly.
that's the main takeaway. I'm really happy with your tutor. That's right. C definitely will.
Okay.
C definitely will. So we're being asked what will not. And the big thing that makes it go up and down is the value of the securities.
Yeah. If they pay dividends to its shareholders, that would be coming out of the net asset value.
Love it. Love it. So D is that going to affect it? Indeed.
A and B, wholesale redemption. Well, if you redeem funds, wouldn't that have more shares outstanding then?
Well, there'd be less, right? Because of the redemption, right? There's going to be
Yeah,
less shares out.
yeah. So that would make the NAV change. So it would have to be the cash dividends
No, the cash dividends coming in will make it go up. You missed this one.
because they
The redemption is a wash because you have less shares but less money.
okay.
That's a wash. So people investing or redeeming doesn't have any effect on the NAV. So you got to a 50-50. I'm still, as your tutor, pretty pleased with your process of elimination. And Sam, I know how hard it is, for people to use process of elimination because you can't use it unless you know things. Right? Otherwise, you'd be staring at the screen. So, you put in the work. You got the C and the D correct, got a 50-50. And again, no risk on performance there. But what doesn't make it go up or down is people buying into the fund or people selling the fund. If you want, I have a tutoring replay on mutual funds where I go over this at length with the person. And I think if you put like NAV in the channel search bar, it'll come up.
So again, redeeming
Don't
shares.
think you need what you're doing is fine. So there's no need for you to do anything other than what you've been doing that got you to this place where you're at today. So in terms of what you're doing between now and Friday. A
Um,
firm underwriting a municipal bond issue usually has a number of different broker dealers involved. Those who earn the total take on each sale they make are performing in the role of.
Okay, we got syndicate manager earns the spread.
Yeah, I like this. I like this one. Excellent.
Selling group. I'm
I,
sorry, syndicate member earns the total.
or syndicate, no, it wouldn't be the manager. The manager would make every component, right?
Doing the spread,
Right.
member.
The total takedown is the additional takedown and the selling concession.
Yep.
So it's A. If all you got was the selling concession, you'd be a selling group member and you wouldn't be at risk for unsold securities.
Yep.
For a new issue municipal syndicate account, settlement of the account must occur.
Settlement of the account. 1 year seems absurdly long.
Yeah, I want my money. I like your logic there.
Uh,
If I'm a syndicate member, you tell me you're not paying me for a year, I'm going to
yeah,
say, what? Are you nuts?
I want to go with B.
Yeah, I like your logic. With that trick I call reduction to the ridiculous, right? You say your point. That sounds kind of absurdly long, right? So, how would the world look if I'm the manager and I got all the money? I say, I'll settle up by the end of the year with you. You're gonna say, well, no, I want my money, right? So, established customer for penny stocks are individuals who have.
I know it's. I know about penny stocks. Isn't it? I was thinking day trading, so never mind. Established customers. Is it all of these?
It is. The other thing is established, had funds with me for a year, right? Very testable. What is a penny stock? So what is the definition of a penny stock?
Um, Less than $5, listed on like the pink. It's on, I think it's on the pink market.
Yeah, non-Nasdaq OTC stock under 5. You're exactly correct. What is the standard for a statement to a customer as a penny stock in the account?
Those get sent monthly.
Yeah, right on. Good job. Which of the following statements regarding a death in a tenant's in common account is true?
Tenants in common goes to the estate.
That's very testable. You're correct.
One. Um, I'd assume that you would have to rekindle the account a little bit. So I'm gonna go with 1 and 3.
You're
Uh,
correct. And then joint tenants with rights or survivorship would be the opposite, very testable, 2 and 4. Right, so good job. You just reused the balance sheet of one of your customers. Exclusive of their primary residence, they have a net worth slightly in excess of 1.54 million. The customer may be considered to be,
Accredited investor.
and remember what that means? They can accept an invitation to participate in a Reg D private placement,
Okay.
right? That's what that means.
Okay.
Which of the following client statements describes an investment objective rather than an investment constraint? Ooh,
Yeah.
this is one of those judgment questions, right?
Okay. Well, investment objective. It's the goal you want to reach. Well, a constraint would be D because that limits the
There you
amount.
go. I love it. You're pretty good at this process elimination. You're right. That's a constraint
You want
that
the,
might restrict us performance because you're telling me that you won't invest in fossil fuels, for example. So
yep.
D is correct. That is a constraint.
If you want your investments to be liquid, that's going to limit you. Something like
Excellent. Excellent. That is a constraint. So again, you're good at these 50-50s.
yeah. See how much in taxes you can save. Um, well, I would consider seeing how much in taxes you can save as a constraint because
Excellent.
yeah,
Excellent.
that
Excellent.
limits
Excellent.
limits you because you
I
want
love the way you attack that question. I love it. You're really good at reading each statement. I always want people to put T or F and just read a statement. And if you can say, okay, yeah, it is or isn't. And even if you didn't get all the way there, which you did, you stuck the landing on this one. But even if you don't, I always tell people, even if you get to a 50-50, that's still 1 and 2 is still better than 1 and 4.
definitely.
So even if you get an answer set where you can't completely get it, you're still increasing your odds. A DMF convertible bond, convertible in 25 shares, has increased 20% above par in the market value. Which of the following would you expect the price of DMF's common stock to be? Kind of an odd question. Another judgment question. I think on the real test, this would just ask you to calculate parity and be done with it, but
Well, you do 1,000 divided by 25 to get the $40 parity price.
right on.
20% above par of 40
Yep.
comes out to maybe 48.
Excellent. That was a man, he didn't even break a sweat on that. Excellent. Customer values XYZ at 60. The stock is currently trading at a 10-to-1 price to earnings ratio. The firm declares a 3-for-1 stock split. What will the PE ratio be after the stock split if the earnings remain unchanged?
Okay. Well, 3 for every 1. So that would mean the price would go down to be 20.
It's the same. It doesn't change,
The
right? We
stock
have the
price.
same amount as we did, and we just the divisor goes up and the price goes down. It's the same thing, right? So 60 divided by 10 is what got us the price to earnings ratio of 10-to-1, right? After a 3-for-1 split, it's going to be $20, and the earnings are going to be 2. 20 divided by 2 is still 10-to-1, right? So 60 divided by 10 is what got us 10-to-1. Now it's going to be, the stock's going to be 20, and the earnings are going to go down to, instead of, the what it is now, which is 10, it's going to be 2. So again, not a bad mess. I don't think you're going to be asked about this, just to know that the proportion ownership has not changed, right? So the earnings were 6. 60 divided by 6 was 10-to-1. That's how we got to 10, right? 60 divided by something is 10. That's 6. Now we're going to have $20 stock, and the earnings were 6. Now they're going to be 2. 20 divided by 2 is still 10-to-1.
I see. Okay, that makes sense.
The primary asset in a tax-exempt bond fund would be?
I would have to assume munis because they're tax exempt.
Right on, right on. Changes to Form U4 regarding a statutory disqualification. Not bueno. So you are a recently convicted felon. You weren't a felon when you went to your work for your firm, but now you are. Or you have been U5 for a misdemeanor involving embezzlement of monies or securities, or you've been denied, suspended, or revoked registration by FINRA.
I know you need to update a U4 within 10 days.
Right on. Now, if it's not one of these statutory things, it would be 30. But if it's statutory, that's the big ones, right? Big ones. That's going to be 10. Your 30-year client has $100,000 to invest, is willing to assume a moderate amount of risk, but you'd like to have $10,000 for down payment on a home in 6 months. Which of the following asset allocations would be best for her situation?
Risk. You would certainly want 10% in a money market fund.
Right on.
Available. Moderate amount of risk. Doesn't say anything about a tax bracket, which makes me think that it's C.
You're absolutely right, love it. If there's nothing about her tax bracket, then we can toss out the muni for sure.
So C, my answer.
70-cent large cap. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me based on this scenario. Absolutely. All the following would be included in a penny stock risk disclosure statement, except.
The risks would be, the definition of penny stock would be, it's like a statement of guarantee. I don't know if that's a thing.
Come on, that's just a nasty word. There are 2 nasty words we never use in the securities industry. They are the word of proof We never say anything's approved and we never use the word guarantee. I say, Sam, if you want to hear the word guarantee, you need to talk to your banker about a banking product or your insurance agent about an insurance product, because securities products have risk. An investor at 40 or 65,000 annually contributes 3.5% to the employer's 401k. With the 401k, his only retirement savings, he wants to do more for retirement and hopes to invest in such a way as to have some tax-free income when he takes distributions later in life. Which of the following is the most suitable given the investor's goals and objectives?
What's tax-free income when he digs
Yeah,
distribution?
that's the key. That's where the question pivots.
I know a Roth is done in after-tax money. Traditional is in pre-tax money, which would be taxed once you distribute it. So I would have to say, oh, well, non-qualified variable annuity. Same situation. Well, I know it's not A because
Yeah, you're right. It's not A.
tax exempt. You wouldn't want to put muni bonds in a
Yeah,
party.
that's right. You're correct. It's not A.
Um, it's either uh, C or B.
That's correct.
Um, variable annuity. I mean, I don't see anything about him wanting any risk, which would make me think it's C.
Yeah, that's the advantage of a Roth, right?
Yeah.
No RMDs. Yeah, boom.
Mhm.
A large national grocery chain owns several smaller regional supermarkets. The regional chain that operates in Chicago is experiencing some economic hardship, and the chain gets debt downgraded by Standard & Poor's. The chain is desperate to raise capital to deal with a lack of cash flow. What method would be best for raising this capital?
Hmm. Stock. Um, A is not right. General creditors that have a higher price.
There you go.
High yield corporate bonds. That is true. They're safer than stock. Um, let's see, the regional chain, mortgage bonds, guaranteed to get their money back even if they default. Um, yeah. Seek to get their parent company support them with the issuance of guaranteed bonds and security safe them direct damage or the struggling chief. Um, it's a tricky one. I don't think they'd be guaranteed to get their money back with a mortgage bond. So I'm going to go with B and D
It's
are
definitely,
my two answers.
yeah, guarantee goes out the window. Minute you guarantee, you're out.
Yeah. Um, you
Oh,
know,
but again, it depends on if we're clear about the guarantee, right?
desperate to raise capital. I'm going to guess D.
Yeah, that's the correct answer, right? You wouldn't want to issue the bonds because the stock is the easiest way to raise money, but it's unlikely in financial difficulties you're going to be able to sell the stock. And the high yield bonds, remember, are very likely to default because they're less than investment grade.
Hmm.
Right? High yield means less than investment grade. So you're correct. We go to our parent company and say, hey, will you guarantee these bonds? Now, here I say, Sam, the guarantee is only as good as the guarantor. So that's is only as good as the parent company, but did get it correct. You did get it correct. Power of attorney is not required for a registered rep to choose.
Um, well, it's the asset amount in the action. It's for discretion. Not required for them to disclose, choose which of the following. They can choose so you can tell them buy, Apple, 100 shares of Apple, and they can pick the time and the price.
Excellent. That's
So,
exactly
yeah,
correct.
3 and 4.
Boom. An individual purchased a variable life insurance policy. Under federal law, the individual is entitled to complete refund of all premiums if the request is made within.
Um, so I don't think I know this one. I'm gonna guess A or B.
Yeah, it's A. Who cares? When I say who cares, I mean for test purposes. This is called the free look.
Okay.
The only thing that shows up on a variable life is that if I'm using and again, it's very low probability, is if I'm using a hypothetical illustration, the highest I could use would be 12%, and I have to have one period of 0 in there. Stupid, but that's the only thing that ever shows up on a variable life. Which of the following bonds is most affected by interest rates? I would imagine you're going to get this right.
The longer maturity will be most affected.
Oh, yeah, long and low, right? And then the coupons are all very similar, right? So long and low. Advertisements for the AMBF mutual fund describe the investment as a no load. In order to make that claim, the fund must have
A.
it's not 0.75%. That would be 1/4 of 1%. A is the maximum, and that's still going to be a loaded fund. You can't refer to yourself as a no load fund. And if you have a 12B1 fee that is greater than 1/4 of 1%. So it is not A, you've been due to get a miss here for a while. So if I would have said the maximum 12B1 fee over the life of a fund, it would be 3/4 of 1%. Different question. The maximum 12B1 fee a no load fund could have would be 0.25.
Okay.
1/4, 1%. So we don't have that choice. So now we're down to B, C, or D, and it can have a contingent deferred sales charge because it wouldn't be in a loaded fund, right? The answer is C. Right. So that was a miss, but not a bad miss. Again, not a bad miss. An investor purchased 100 shares at 60 on March 2nd, 2019, with the stock selling at 80 on January 2nd, 2020. He purchased a 75 put at 2. On June 2nd, the investor sold the stock for 85. As a result of these tax consequences are.
Okay. Purchased the put, you sold the stock for 85. Stock's on 80, bought a put. Seems to me. Okay, so I know it's 2,300, but I know that buying a put resets the holding period to a short
There
term.
you go. So then again, you bought the put, it wasn't more than 12 months, so you're on the right track. So that means again, when you bought the put, now let's just be careful here. So we bought the put, and you're correct. That interrupted our holding period. So it reset on January 2nd. We sold on June 2nd. So now we know it's going to be short term.
Yeah.
Right.
And
So
that
now we know it's either A or C. So now we have to decide, is it a 2,300 short-term capital gain or is it 2,500?
it's 2,300.
Excellent. Excellent. FINRA Rule 2232 deals with customer confirmations. Among the requirements of that rule are all the following except. So what is not on a confirmation?
Um, I want to say B or C because they're kind of one or the other.
That's right. I get you correct. It's either B or C.
Well, I don't think you'd have a written confirmation before you complete the transaction.
Yeah, excellent. So
So
yeah, it's by completion, right? It's not T+1, and we gotta have it to you by settlement.
Yeah.
So all the following are true except B is false. We have to give you the confirmation or send it to you by completion of trade, which is settlement. So C is true, B is not,
C is true.
right? One business day, B, yeah, C is true, B is not. It's by settlement. Right?
Hmm.
It says 1 day. If this was an option transaction or a government, then maybe it would be B, but it's by completion settlement.
Okay.
An investor purchased zero coupon bond at 64. The bond matures in 9 years. 5 years later, the investor sells the bond at a price of 80. This would result in
40 divided by 9. Uh, so it'd be you would have would have lost 40 because you could have sold it for 840.
lost 40. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. You lost 40.
Because
Well,
you don't know what
so you did that so quick. I was wondering whether you really got it right. So
yeah, I
you did
1,000.
360 divided by 9, right?
Yep.
360 is the difference. You divide by 9, you find out that that's $40 a year.
Yep.
You've had it for 5 years times 40, so that means you're now at 840, and you sold it for 800. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Were you paying taxes on that $40 a year that you weren't receiving? Yeah, remember that
Yes,
imputed
you get
interest is taxable, right?
every year.
A registered rep has been doing some research on his own. Oh, that's scary. He'd like to share the information with some of his clients and sends an email to 15 of them. He also has some process he's been working on, and he sends the email to 12 of them. So 15 and 12 sounds like it's a total of 27 there
Yep.
during the same week. Under FINRA rule on communication to the public, this would be considered.
I know that it's within 30 days. Any of those
Yeah,
correspondence, retail communications, it's all 30 days.
that's
So
right.
that means if it's above 25, it'd be retail communication.
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, then that means it has to be approved pre-distribution by your principal. Right, 25 or fewer correspondence, and then your principal can do it pre or post distribution. A corporation has an outstanding issue of 8% convertible bonds with a conversion price of 25. The bond indenture contains an anti-dilutive clause guaranteeing the debt holders the right to maintain proportionate equity conversion in the corporation. The company pays a 10% stock dividend. How will this affect the debenture holders?
Well, it would be 1,000 divided by the conversion of 25. You get 40 shares. If you get a 10% stock dividend,
There you go. Love it.
so be 44. So
You're
you're
on
gonna get
the right track.
then you gotta go back. So be 44. You get 1,000 divided by 44 comes out. They're gonna be convertible at the 22.73.
Love it. You didn't even break a sweat. Excellent, excellent, excellent. A new client opens a margin account with $72,000 of fully paid for common stock. At this point in time, the account has excess equity of.
If it's fully paid for, they wouldn't have equity.
Excess equity? Oh, yeah, you would.
What?
Excess equity is how much over 50% are you?
Hmm.
It certainly has excess equity.
So it'd be 36,000.
Yeah, right. That's how much you're over, right? 72 minus 0 is 72. Half of 72 is 36. You have 36,000 in excess equity. So if you want, I'll send you a check for 36,000 if you'd like, right?
Okay.
Because that would be your SMA. Or I'll let you buy $72,000 worth of more stock to put with it. 144, right? And then I'd lend you 72 grand. So you're going to have SMA of 36 and buying power of 72.
Okay.
A customer sells 500 shares of XYZ per share, sells short. Before regular settlement, the stock falls to 60. The minimum maintenance margin requirement is.
So I know that's is it 130%? You have to multiple. It's 30
Well,
percent.
it's 30%, depending on how you're gonna do the math, but it's 30%. Minimum maintenance on a short account is 30% of the market value.
So we got 500 times 40,000 times. Um, okay. Thousand. Stock falls to 60. So you need to keep 30% of the market value.
That's right. So what's the market value?
40,000 times 30% of
Five
that.
hundred times.
1,000. So if it falls to 60, you would need 500 times 60 times maybe 9,000.
Excellent, excellent. Get rid of that little question in your ways. You got it right. Yeah. Right. It's 30% of the market value. So you take the market value, 500 times 60 is 30 grand. 30 times 30 is 9,000. One of your customers takes a short position in 300 shares of LLP common stock. The sale price is $70. 1 month later, with the stock selling at 73, the investor purchases 3 LOP September 70 calls at 3.25. What is the investor's break even?
So they bought it for 70. Um, paid 70, and then they paid 325 per share. The break even would be um, hmm, just a call. No, the break even here wouldn't be the sale price plus the premium you paid.
Well, you always net. Whenever there's a buy and a sell, you net. All right. So here, buy and a sell, we're going to net. So 70 is dollars in.
Yeah.
You paid out 3.25 for the protection.
Oh, I debited the wrong side. I put it on the, I see.
Yeah, there you go. That's why we
Yeah,
got
that's
so
why. That explains it. So it'd be the 66.75. It's a difference of,
excellent. Right.
I see.
And you're a smart bear because now your maximum loss is going to be that break even to the strike. Right now, the worst case is you can buy back the borrowed stock at 75. So you change the stop position from unlimited risk to limited risk. I think a pretty smart thing to do, right? It's moving against you. Right. So good job. An investor purchased a REIT from a broker dealer in an SEC registered public offering. The following year, she asked to register up for a quote. When told there is no current quote available, you would gather that this is
A no current quote. I want to say untraded because
yeah, that's right. There's no public marketplace for it. So that's the problem, right? By the way, she should have known that before she purchased it.
yeah.
Yeah. By the way, it's probably a different thing too. It's also probably unregistered as well, but untrade is a better answer. A callable municipal bond is purchased at 102. So it's a mini bond, you bought at a premium. It's callable at par in 15 years. The bond is called at the first call date. The effective yield would be
Bond is called effective yield earned. So if it's purchased at a premium, yield to call would be lower. If it's callable, or if it's being called, effective yield would then be lower than the yield to maturity.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Very testable, and you nailed it. Right? When you buy a bond at a premium, the lowest yield is yield to call. So it's going to be yield to call, which is lower than the yield to maturity. What type of risk does a mortgage-backed security most likely to experience? Kind of similar to one we did earlier.
Yeah. Now, would reinvestment rate risk be similar to like extension risk or
Yeah,
prepayment?
exactly right, right? Because what happens is if interest rates go down, everybody refinances the mortgage. It comes back to us, and then you say, "Didn't just give me some more of those 8% mortgages?" I go, Sam, I don't know where you've been, but mortgages are now 4. And so, yeah, it's reinvestment risk, right? The idea that you're not going to be able to put that money out and get the same return. Because remember, the mortgages, if interest rates come down, your point about the indeterminate maturity, the life shrinks, it
Mhm.
contracts, it ends sooner rather than later. And now you have to reinvest, and you're reinvesting in a lower interest rate environment. So excellent. A company's balance sheet dated December 31st shows retained earnings of 100,000. You can deduce from this information that the company,
It
kind of a
wouldn't
weird
be the profits.
equation.
It wouldn't be the
Yeah, I
total.
think it's kind of a weird one.
Yeah. Um, if it was cash, it would say cash. It'd
That
be
would be on the balance sheet as current assets. And this is not asking about current assets.
no.
Or the
So
balance sheet equation is assets minus liabilities equals net worth.
I'm gonna go with B.
You are correct. Retained earnings are the money we didn't distribute to the shareholders. Right? That's exactly what that is. Retained earnings. We're keeping it. Right? We're either going to, pay out some as a dividend, and we're probably going to keep some. The amount that we keep of the earnings is called retained earnings. Customer fails to meet a margin call for $2,500. Securities may be sold out with the account with a value of. So you don't give me the money, and so I sell you out to meet the margin call. Fails to meet a margin call. I got kind of interesting.
Would it be 5,000 because the reg T's
Yeah,
have
I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm selling the whole thing.
yeah.
I'm not letting you keep it, right? And then remember what happens now? You bought and sold, and you didn't pay for the buy. So now there's a free ride, right? Now I'm going to freeze this account for 90 days. Ella Distributing Company issued a bond with a nominal yield of 5. The bond matures in 12 years and currently trading at 94. The bond's yield to maturity is closest to.
Well, it's at a discount, so the yield maturity would be higher than 5%. That knocks two
Yeah,
answers.
that's right. That's right.
Um, it's at a pretty steep discount, which would make me believe it'd be the higher BB, my answer. But I
Yeah, I
don't.
like what you did. You got it right. I actually did a little more work than you did. You got it correct. You did a less work than I did. I did the current yield. I took the
Yeah.
$50 in annual interest. I divided by the 940, and I got a current yield of 5.3.
Oh,
And once I got a current yield of 5.3, I knew it had to be something higher, which would be B.
okay.
And it looks like you just, you just eyeballed it. Got it
Yeah.
right. Your logic was correct,
Yeah.
and your answer was correct. I'm not sure that you would be able to eyeball that in the future, but pretty impressive. Pretty
Yeah,
impressive.
but I understand how you did it.
Yeah, an individual who has been investing in a periodic payment variable annuity annuitizes. So you say, I want to annuitize.
Um, well, with a variable annuity, when you annuitize, accumulation units become annuity units.
Right on.
Yeah. No?
Boom. There we go. Yeah,
All
that's
right.
the right answer.
Okay.
Yep. And then your check is going to go up or down based on the
AIR.
right on. Code of arbitration procedure. Boy, Kaplan's a jerk. There's a difference between the code of arbitration and the code of procedure. I think they just threw the procedure on there to make you think it's about the code of procedure. It is not. It is about the code of arbitration.
Um, Binding on all parties. See?
Yeah, very testable. Very testable. Which of the following accurately depicts communications with the public designated as correspondence? So not retail communication, correspondence.
That means you need pre or post review by a principal.
That's right.
Um, well, doesn't have to occur before. So two,
That's
and
correct.
FINRA correspondence. I don't believe it's required.
Yep,
So
2 and 4. You got it. That's correct, right? Yeah, you were right. It's not one. That would be retail communication.
yeah.
So one's it out. You were correct about two, and FINRA doesn't care about that. In an economy where interest rates are rising, holders of which of the following mutual funds whose portfolios are in long-term bonds are likely to see the greatest decline in price? Kind of interesting. I think this one's kind of interesting.
Shares are rising. Um, yeah, I want to say mutual funds.
Yeah, the reason it's not a mutual fund because the mutual funds are continually having people come into the fund. And the assumption is they could buy these new bonds that are paying higher than the old bonds. But you're right, the NAV is going to go down. The one that's going to be most exposed is the UIT because it's a fixed portfolio. There's nobody managing it. And so it's going to go down. The exchange traded fund are organized as open-end funds, and they have new cash coming in. Closed-end funds don't have to meet redemption requests. I think it's a stupid ass question, but it is what it is.
What was the actual answer? UIT?
Yeah, UIT. A person legally responsible for the handling of financial assets of another, such as an executor or guardian, is usually called.
A fiduciary.
Yeah, you can't be missing questions like that.
Yeah.
A registered rep is trying to determine the total capital gains made by one of her customers over the last 3 years. Which of the following would not be helpful in the representative's research effort?
Brokerage accounts would be W-2. That's a W-2 wouldn't be.
Yeah, that's you working for money. That's going to have nothing to do with it. That's your paycheck income.
Yeah.
No, the others would be helpful. The price paid for a listed REIT is most similar to the pricing of. I got a weird one. I like this one. Kind of weird, but
So since they trade on the stock market
yeah,
and
perfect.
funds trade on the secondary market, would have to go.
Perfect. Excellent. Excellent. I love it. That was perfect. KLBA Corporation has extensive investments in stocks and bonds of other corporations. Its portfolio income amounts this year to 700,000 from bonds, 400,000 in dividend income from common and preferred stock. How much of the portfolio income must it pay taxes on this year? I assume you're going to get this right because you got a similar question correct earlier.
Uh, W. Is it, well, I know that, wait, let me rethink this here. It would be 900,000 because if you
There you
have the
go.
dividend income, you
Perfect.
get the
That's
full amount of
perfect. That's the
interest.
right answer indeed. A municipal securities principal must approve all of the following except.
Legal opinions, because those are,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, that's done by a bond counsel. That's Sesame Street trick. No, 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 no. Right? The other things, yeah. Which of the following debt instruments is unsecured?
equipment trust is backed, collateral has,
Yeah.
debt ventures are unsecured. Mortgage
There
bonds
you
are,
go. Boom. Yeah. One of your customers not want to risk the taking physical possession of stock certificates. At the same time, they don't want them in street name. Which of the following two options would work for your customer?
um, You could use a direct registration system.
Right on, that's number 4, so you're correct.
Um, is it transfer and hold?
Yep, 1 and 4. A registrar wants to place advertisements in his daughter's youth athletic team quarterly sponsorship booklet and in a weekly bulletin at the church describing that he specializes in 529 plans. Which of the following regarding these advertisements is true?
I know D's not because that would be I'm sure it'd be more than 25 people. Advertisements,
That's right.
institutional communication. It wouldn't be the institutional communication, wouldn't be C because
That's correct.
institutions. I mean, these would probably be nonprofits, but you're still advertising, so you would need pre-approval. So A.
Excellent. Boom. Excellent. I love how you did that. That's absolutely correct. Which of the following statements regarding Ginnie Mae is true?
Ginnie Mae's subject to federal, and they're backed by residential mortgages.
There you go. So 1 and 4. Qualified distributions from a Roth IRA are.
Roth IRAs are after-tax money, so they're tax-free. Oh, yeah, tax-free. Oh,
Yeah,
wait.
that's what gives them their juice. That's
Taxable.
what gives them the juice. Yeah.
I was going to say
And
taxable
remember, there's no RRD,
earnings.
no required minimum distribution. Investor has a portfolio containing 60% equities, 5% debt instruments, 35% options and futures. Which of the following would describe this investor's investment style?
The aggressive.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the kicker is the derivatives and the options, right?
Yeah.
Futures. Which of the following are exempt from registration provisions of 33?
Um, it would be two would be a type of muni bond. Uh, yeah, so two would be exempt.
That's correct.
Mutual funds. Those are registered. Oh, well, if it's two, it wouldn't be three. It would have to be four. Two and four?
Yeah, commercial paper is exempt. So it is indeed 2 and 4. The IRS will generally consider a direct participation program to be abusive unless the program can show a profit motive. A popular method of economic viability is.
Mm, I would assume there'd be a cash flow analysis.
Yeah, money in, money out, right? An institution trading securities in the fourth market is likely to be using.
ECN? ECNs are fourth
Yeah,
market.
that's right. This is direct trading between institutions, indeed, like Instinet, for example. A non-qualified deferred comp plan is often used by corporations.
To isn't that to retain employees, high
That's
salaries?
right. But yep, that's correct. So now which employees though?
High salaried employees.
That's right. Remember, because we can discriminate.
Yeah.
A new registered employee joins your firm. All the following regarding new employees must be investigated except.
Instantly, I'd say marital status does not need to be investigated.
Yeah, the other things are part of your U4, right?
Yeah.
Your client lives in a state with a very high state income tax, but there's also a city tax. Ooh, New York City, Philadelphia. The client wishes to invest in a debt security that will avoid those taxes. You might suggest.
High state tax. Uh, munis, not by another state. To avoid those tax. Oh, it'd be a treasury bond because that's only.
Yeah, given this answer set, I would have preferred like Puerto Rico or something like that, but it's
Yeah.
not offered to me. Customer has written a letter of complaint to the dealer. Upon receipt of the complaint, the municipal securities dealer must first
Accept it and record it.
Yeah, what you're gonna do, right, is then you're gonna, what's the record retention? Accept the complaint, record it. What's record retention on a municipal customer complaint?
Is that 4 years?
FINRA is 4, MSRB is 6. So FINRA is 4 and
That difference
MSRB is
tested?
6.
That difference
What's
test?
that? Very low probability, but it could be. I think it's more likely they'll ask you the 4 for the FINRA.
Okay.
Which of the following CMOs tend to have low extension and reinvestment risk? This is testable.
Low extension.
Right, so it's the ones that have more predictability and therefore lower risk are those earlier cascading cash flows.
Meaning that'd be packs.
Right on, very testable.
These are.
And then be prepared for the opposite answer would be with less predictability, right?
Yeah.
A customer wishes to open a new account but refuses to provide suitability information. Under FINRA rules, the member
Refuses to provide suitability. A.
Yeah, open the account. I said, but listen, I have responsibility to know my customers. So if you don't give me this information, Sam, all I'm going to be able to do is, trades on an unsolicited basis unless I have some way of determining suitability. Investor submits an immediate or cancel order to sell. So that's going to be important again. So now you got to decide, are you looking at 32.18 or 32.26 if the customer is selling?
Customer selling, you're gonna look at 32.18.
There you go. When the order reaches the floor, the quote is 32.18, 32.26. 6 by 8. So there's 600 shares available at 32.18. And there's 800 shares available at 32.26. The investor.
B. 600.
Well, remember, to meet or cancel means you will accept partial execution. You're saying B, but is your price available? There's an implied or better. Right?
Immediate or
So
cancel.
you're correct. We sold 600 shares at 32.18, right? Because that's better. So you should be happy, right? You said you would take 32.15. I call you back and say you got 18. That's even better. Right? So you were correct. 7% convertible debenture selling at 101. It's convertible at 25. The common stock's at 23. If the stock were trading at parity, I'll be awful surprised you don't get this because you got one that was much harder than this earlier. So now if you may miss this plain vanilla one as your tutor, I'm going to say, really? You got that more difficult one and now you're struggling with this one?
Okay, so we have 40 shares. Common stock trading at 23. 40 shares times 23 comes out to 920. Oh wait, let me rethink this. Trading at parity with the debenture should be 101, 40. Would it be 25?
You're correct. You're correct. You're going to have to do that on the test. I'm feeling pretty good. You're going to get your parity calculation. You might even get 2, and good news for you because you aren't breaking a sweat on those. Customer opens the following option position. Long 1 KALE October 70 put at 4.25, and short 1 KAL October 80 put at 10. What is the customer's maximum gain, maximum loss, and break even?
Break even would be with the put, subtract the higher from the net premium, difference in premiums. So it'd be difference in premiums are 10 minus 4.25. So it'd be put, subtract higher. 80 minus 5.75. Break even 74.25.
That's right. Call up.
Yep. Maximum gain.
And to the lower is another way to do that.
Yeah. Maximum gains and net credit. We have more money in than, oh wait, yeah, more money in than out, which makes it a credit
Right on.
spread. So you'd put that 5.75, the maximum gain.
There you go. That's right.
And what's that? What the difference is? What was the difference? 10. 4.25 for the maximum loss.
Yeah,
So that is, looks like A to me.
excellent, 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 excellent. Why are possible future higher educational needs of a customer's very young children classified as a non-financial consideration? They do
Uh,
ask you about non-financial
they
considerations.
do ask you that.
Yeah.
Um,
The way I think of it is it's something that doesn't show up on a balance sheet or an income statement.
okay, so let's go with A. Because
Yeah.
you don't
So
know,
that's what you do. You think, okay, can I put this as a,
I don't
yeah,
know the cost.
it doesn't fit. Customer has contributed an IRA and an employer matching 401k continuously for many years. Wants to purchase an annuity contract to add additional monthly income once retired. Given that all of the current and retirement investments are subject to market risk, the customer wants these funds to have no market risk exposure. Which of the following options would achieve that objective? But a suitability discussion regarding its risk should occur. What is it? Wow.
Yeah. Um, they want no market risk, which would lead me to a fixed annuity
You're
instantly.
correct. You're
Uh,
correct.
but that would lead to purchasing power risk because you're
Excellent.
not going to increase with the
Excellent. Excellent.
market.
Yeah, excellent. Portfolio invests in blue chip stocks and growth stocks can best be described as,
I want to say aggressive, but I know it's not because blue chips are safe. They're safer. They're not.
yeah, well, safer. Blue chips and poker are the most expensive chip on the table.
Yeah.
They have the blue chip stocks have a proven track record in good times and bad. We would expect a blue chip stock to be able to distribute a portion of its earnings as a dividend.
Okay. Obviously balance would have bonds, which this doesn't. So I'm gonna go with B, growth and
Yeah,
income.
you're interested in total return, right? Total return. In the United Kingdom, they're called gilts. In Germany, this is a dated question. They're called bonds. They're euros now, but in France, they are called oats. To investors, they are known as kind of fun. I don't think you're going to see this at all, but
I'd have to guess Euro bonds.
yeah, yeah. I should probably well, euro bonds, but the key is gilts, bonds, and oats. It's sovereign debt. It's
Hmm.
not going to be Nestle's. It's going to be Nestle's would be Swiss francs, but it's going to be the government bonds. These are the government bonds. U.S. Treasury, United Kingdom Treasury gilts, German bonds before the euro are called bonds, and France they're called oats.
Hmm.
Stupid. Yeah,
Yeah, a little
stupid.
bit.
All the following are expenses the operation of a mutual fund except. I like this one.
Okay, well, obviously you have to file with the SEC. Um,
Yeah.
you can pay that. Compensation paid to underwriter. That would be an expense. Custodian banks. Custodian banks. Would it be A? Do you even have a custodian bank?
Yeah, we got to pay the custodian. This is kind of a trick question. The compensation paid to the underwriter is paid by the customer. That's the load.
Hmm.
The 4% isn't paid by the fund. The
Okay.
maximum 8.5%, but let's say it's 4, that is paid by the customer.
Okay.
The NAV plus the sales charge equals the public offering price. And that compensation is not paid by the fund, it's paid by the customer.
Okay.
So good miss, but it's the answer is D.
Okay.
Melody Smith redesigned a previously approved marketing letter that she plans to distribute individually to high net worth customers. The letters will be personalized with name and details and not distributed by bulk email. She's concluded that there's no need for principal approval. Melody, I think you are going to be long in the business.
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be a violation.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, you should just skip anything that says she's not in trouble, right?
Yeah,
So
right.
just looking at the answers that it's A or D.
Yeah. All forms of association with retail. Um, form of nothing. Uh, I mean, shoot. A?
Excellent. You know, any part of a statement is false makes the whole statement false. And D says it doesn't matter how many people, that's false. Once there's a false thing there. Collateralized tranche A has been created to have the most predictable near-term principal payoff. A tranche set up this way will have.
If it's safer, it'll have a lower yield.
Yeah, that's correct. That's absolutely correct.
It's closer, you're more likely to actually get your money back. I'd say least reinvestment risk. So 2 and 4.
Yeah, good job. Excellent. Morgan is a successful registered rep with a well-known broker-dealer. An equally prominent firm has made Morgan an offer that is too good to refuse. Under FINRA Rule 2273, if Morgan wishes to recommend to an existing customer move their account to the new firm, Morgan, what you got to do?
I know when you move firms and your customer would want to follow, you need an education, some educational.
Right on. You got to tell them how much, what's your incentive, and what the products are not available there, and all that kind of stuff. Right on. Which of the choices is least similar to the others? Oh, I kind of like this one.
Standard and Poor's and Moody's are similar, and Fitch is
Yeah.
another rating agency. Those three are, so be C.
That's a me street trick. One of these things is not like the other. One of your clients asks about a recent purchase of a preferred stock. When looking at online information about the stock, the client notices that no par value is assigned. How does the company determine the amount of the dividend to pay? This is called no par stock.
I haven't heard of any of these.
Yeah, this is another one of those legacy questions that used to show up. I haven't had anybody tell me they've seen it in a long time.
Um, I mean, how about B?
No, it's not B. It's actually on a no par stock. The dividend is expressed as a stated rate. So we're just going to tell you, like, we owe you X number of dollars.
Okay.
It's a $5 preferred, or it's a $3 preferred, whatever the case may be. And the issuer just doesn't want to express what they originally borrowed on us. So listen, my friend, that is some impressive performance. I am very, very impressed
Thank you,
with your performance. I think we talked about the ones that you missed.
Yeah.
I think you should think of this tutoring session as a insurance policy. Oh, went the wrong way. I have no doubt that you're going to make your mark on Friday. So all you got to do is stick your landing.
Yeah.
What I always do is make a deal with you. You have this video, and one of the most we talked about that one. One of the most popular things is people watching people do practice exams and struggle. You obviously did not struggle in this thing, but I'm comping you the 45 minutes we're over on the tutoring to finish this up. And if you would like to donate this back to me with the video, I would love to have it to share with others, but that's completely up to you.
Yeah.
But if you send it back to me,
Send you
I
this.
will share it. I think people could really benefit from two things: exposure to the questions and your performance. Maybe we don't want to do that because other people might then feel bad.
Yeah.
And
Well,
say, oh, geez, I'm not Sam. I can't do that. I think we talked about most of
I've been
these.
studying for too long. If I didn't know this much, I think I'd be more worried. But yeah, I mean, I'd be happy.
Yeah, no,
to give you
yeah, just send it back to me, and then, like I say, I'll put it on there. I won't put it up until Friday because everybody's going to ask, did Sam pass? And we want to be so, oh yeah, Sam passed. So, and then I'm thinking I'd also be interested. Let me stop our share here.
Yeah.
And